when she started her cross on Jon Jones, she started interrogating him about the dick pills, which clearly got Jon Jones comfortable, and then she hammered him about everything known to man after that. She put Jon Jones in this position of comfort, and then just absolutely dropped body blow after body blow on him. And the longer it went, the worse it got. He just kept saying increasingly more desperate and stupid things. Like, dude, you can see Malky Kawa sitting behind him. By the way, Malky wearing loafers with no socks. That's disgusting. Don't do that. Wear some ankle socks. Be respectable. But, like, dude, Malky looked like he was in hell. Like, he looked like his brain was touching the void. And this brings me to my other point. Things got so bad today that at one point, the California State Athletic Commission basically say, like, they don't basically say, they say, have you considered getting different management? And then, at the very end, after they vote, again, Martha Shenner-Quidez essentially intimated that when Jon Jones appears before them again, if he wants a license in California, whatever his USADA suspension may be, she essentially said, you better have new management.
What up, everybody? Welcome back to yet another Sound of Violence podcast. I am currently spilling a beer, so I will address that here in a second. If you guys have not heard the show previously, we are an MMA podcast, talks about MMA podcasts, and we try and give you the shows you should catch, skip, and can't miss each week. I am Pulver, and I am here with my co-host, Chris Madaffer. What up, bruh?
This beer is good, but I guess I wasn't the only one where every time we open this, it just pours out.
The little volatile in the yeast production.
Either because I didn't shake the
CO2
box,
production.
either whoever put it on display at the liquor store was like, I'm going to shake up all these boxes of beer. Is like, fuck it. I don't know. It's just interesting. Huh.
Either that or they way overcarbonated this with either sugar or yeast. But yeah, wow. Every time we crack one of these, it's fucking foaming over. It doesn't taste like papery or anything, though.
Yeah, no.
Although it's kind of hard to tell because it's a bonfire brown ale, it's a pretty smoky brown beer. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
From Fremont Brewing.
Yep. In Seattle.
Yeah, it just says Earth on the can. Because beer matters, y'all. Anyway, we are not a booze podcast despite my best efforts. However, we should shout out our sponsors, which is the Papa Vodka presents... Papa Vodka... I always fuck this up. Papa Vodka presents... Doug Stanhope presents our sponsors. Of course, this week, the Fremont Brown Ale, despite it making a goddamn mess on my floor twice tonight. What other sponsors we got this week, any?
Brought to you by Gringo Bandito Hot Sauce.
There you go. The hot sauce from Dexter.
Dexter Holland, the frontman for the band Offspring.
Yeah, that's a solid one right there. Highly recommend it.
Unofficial sponsor brought to you by marijuana. It is completely safe and will not hurt you.
That's right. Golden Goat specifically, because it's been good to me. Also shouts out for it being in the background of that fucking Netflix show that's about weed, Disjointed.
Oh, dude, I still gotta watch that.
It's so dumb, but it's hilarious.
I don't know. I like Kathy Bates ever since.
She's great when she's high.
Yeah,
and she's clearly very high during that show.
So she's the antithesis of Bobby Boucher's mom.
Yeah. No, she's like Bobby Boucher's mom if she just smoked weed and laughed the entire time.
Yeah.
And like made fun of Bobby Boucher. That's pretty great. Anyway, we will get into format, but I did want to shout that out. Also, shouts out to our other sponsor, Judo Bill Tyler of Sydney. Kangaroo. Every time I do that, Kangaroos MMA out in Sydney. If you guys are ever looking for a gym in the game MMA Tycoon, try to get into that one, even though I don't think Judo Bill's playing that game anymore. But luckily he's still hosting the gym, so that's working out good for me. Also, I got 2 champs in that game. I don't know if I mentioned that recently. I'm like almost top 100 in that game. Fucking mobbing dudes. Anyway, check out MMA Tycoon. It's pretty dope. We always have that link in the show notes for our show. Like, all I get from that is I think I get like $5,000 in like sign up bonus money, which
Like in-game currency?
yeah, and I make way more than that running Freebok, or F Freebok as the logo implies. Pretty fun. So if you want to check that out, I recommend signing up. Who knows? Maybe we'll even get Chris on there one of these days to start a character.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
But we will get into format now that I have rambled about all kinds of random shit. We should address our show art this week. Wait, do I even know what our show art is this week?
I don't think so. I don't think we have any.
I don't either. Oh, no, you know what I forgot is our other sponsor. We are starting a sponsorship this week for a cause called the People v. Mike England, a petition for reparations. I have come across this week, every time you watch the UFC 222 promo, they have shown Tanya Evinger in an armbar that Mike England ruined and basically fucked up the end of the fight, but they still keep showing that armbar finish, even though it was a no contest. So I have started a cause on the internet via one tweet where I believe that every time the UFC shows that armbar, that no contest armbar in the promo, I'm convinced that Tanya Evinger should be able to stand on Mike England's head for a full minute every time they play that.
Yeah, why not?
I feel like it's fair reparations.
As the guys at co-main event say, #would watch.
Yeah, and you know what? I feel like Mike England, if he really wants to prove that he is one of the people and for the fighters, I feel like he would be okay with that. So, yeah. Let's all let Tanya Evinger stand on Mike England's head, y'all. Anyway, we'll get into format. Chris, why don't you start us off with the MMA podcast you think people should catch this week?
Well, I just mentioned before, I liked co-main events episode this week.
Super good.
I like at the beginning they talked about, and it reminded me, you had mentioned this to me, I think a couple weeks ago, the Pride FC drinking challenge that they're going to be doing
next Friday. So not tomorrow. We're recording this on Thursday for once.
I skipped my class, guys.
That's right.
My class tonight.
I'm a terrible influence like that.
But that's because I'm going to the Goals game tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Hey, well, maybe you'll see Jeremy Stevens again.
Yeah, hey, that would be a surprise, yeah.
Guess what our artwork will be if Chris sees Jeremy Stevens in fights again.
I'll smile the same way.
Yeah. Hopefully there'll be an Asian dude with a purple mustache behind you or whatever.
I'll make it happen.
That guy is the best.
That was pretty amazing. I'm actually going to have a camera at the game tomorrow because I'm turning into a homework assignment. It's always, whenever you can bring a fucking camera to anything, it just makes it more fun.
For sure.
So, basically the guys at co-main, Chad and Ben, discuss Mike Perry. Has he been figured out? Is he one-dimensional? I think basically they were just kind of more alluding to the fact that the UFC's kind of promoting him, maybe not promoting him a little too fast.
They're pushing him a little
too fast.
Which will come up again when we break down this weekend's card about someone they're pushing.
They said he should be able to rebound after just now, which is a 2-fight skid, but the matchmaking definitely needs to come with more caution and care.
You would think.
Whether you I don't want to say the coaching's an issue, because I don't think it is, because, there's been some criticisms, his girlfriend is in his corner.
She's not a good corner person.
She's not a good corner person.
I like her a lot. I think she's hilarious. Danielle Nickerson's great.
I definitely agree she's not a good corner person.
I don't ever want to hear anyone from a corner yell, kick him in the knee, break his knee.
Yeah.
It's not...
Yeah.
What year is it? Tank Abbott's not fighting anymore, y'all.
Yeah.
But I do like Danielle Nickerson. I think she is underrated. I think the other two coaches in the corner, the actual coaches in the corner, need to feed her more lines. Because it's one thing to have something like a Sam Alvey's wife, where Sam Alvey's wife is yelling shit that the corner people are telling her to yell, because Sam responds well to that voice. That's one thing, but the kick him in the knee, punch him in the face bullshit.
Well, it's just too vague and there's no clear instructions.
Well, I could be yelling that from the cage. It wouldn't be any more
I remember when he was, we could talk about it later, but there's points when he was on his back and she just said, get up, or something.
There's way better and more qualified corners that have said similar things, so... Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely tough, but...
They discuss Ilir Latifi's attempt at calling out DC, even though he didn't realize that DC had an IFB in his ear, which is basically just a mic monitor with a producer in your ear telling you what to say, basically, and what to look out for.
Yeah,
so DC couldn't logically even respond if he wanted to. It just wouldn't have happened. So, but they said they would love to see DC versus fight Ilir, because I think that's a decent style matchup.
I mean, I agree with DC in the fact that, like, yo, UFC, you want to get Daniel Cormier paid, set up that fight, because that is a fucking terrible style matchup for Ilir Latifi.
Yeah, it's not good at all.
Like, DC, you're finally giving DC someone his own size, and you think that's not gonna... Yeah, you think that's not gonna end up badly?
He already fought two dudes who were arguably the two hardest hitters in Rumble and Volkan.
Yeah, like, y'all remember him dumping Josh Barnett on his goddamn head? Like, and fucking ultra heavyweight.
And DC's already worrying about a real heavyweight in fucking Stipe, who will probably be his toughest matchup to date. I guess you could say besides John Jones, but
and you bet your
arguably
ass,
it'd be tougher fight than John Jones because he hits way harder than John Jones. So.
You bet your ass if DC wins that belt, he's not fighting Ilir.
No.
That shit's not happening. But
so there's
to be fair to Ilir, he does look better on a horse on a beach than DC does. I would probably put money on that. Not that I don't want to see DC on a horse on a beach, because I feel like that picture would be real good. But have a different context.
There's different ways about it. You can make it look good for sure.
Yeah, it'd be like that one Arrested Development episode where it's Elias riding the horse with another dude. It's how the DC version would come off.
There's that, yeah. Henan Barao has too much mileage on him at this point.
Oh, sorry, not Elias, Tobias.
Yeah, I was gonna say Elias.
Tobias. The other Elias.
Leslie Smith seems like a solid choice to direct the Project Spearhead, which we mentioned, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yep, she'll come up. Last week we talked about her, and she'll come up again later in the episode.
As far as a unionization attempt for MMA fighters. They discussed the Stevens knee controversy. They said, regardless if it connects or not, Emmett should have been given a 5-minute break in their opinion, because we'll bring up a lot of differing opinions.
Yeah.
And I have my own opinion,
too. My skip this week likes to yell about that for like most of the episode.
Could Conor McGregor fight twice this year? Honestly, I don't think anyone fucking knows.
Oh, yeah, probably not in MMA, I don't think.
Yeah. And if he does fight in MMA, it'd be a fight that makes no sense.
It's gonna be Nate Diaz.
Yeah, that's the fight that makes sense in monetary gain, but not for actual belts or rankings.
Unless they can get Nate to get a 170 fight.
I'm about to say right now, if he fights him, it's gonna be a 170.
No, I'm saying what they want to do is get Nate versus Tyron on the off chance that Nate wins, and then they can do Conor versus Nate at 170 for the belt, and then they can do GSP versus Nate at 170, or GSP versus Conor at 170 for the belt.
Oh, that'd be their dream.
Yeah, which someone mentioned on a podcast this week that I think I said and
I'll tell you right now, there's no way Tyron is letting that happen.
Also, Tyron murders all three of them.
That'd be done.
Nate,
and I've
GSP,
said this again, and I've said it. I will say this a lot. I think Tyron will be the champ for a very good amount of time.
I think if you, depending on the order you feed them to Tyron, he might beat them all in a night.
I think realistically, the only person who has a really good shot at beating Tyron,
GSP.
If he got in, he was in phenomenal shape against Bisping, besides...
more phenomenal shape.
Yeah. But what I'm saying, though, is I think Kelvin Gastelum has a good shot if he can make weight.
Oh, no, yeah, there's actually 170 and 185ers, legit challengers that could do it, for sure.
But anyways, that's all I had for co-main.
It was just a good, well-rounded episode.
I liked it a lot,
yeah. So, I have my list is a little weird this week. I don't actually have a can't miss.
Neither do I. I have multiple catch this.
So this can be a really weird episode. So I have 3 catch thises. Oh wait, I have 3 catches.
Did you just say catch these?
Yeah, that's the way. And also, it's just a catch. It's not a catch this. Yeah, so I don't know why we always emphasize that.
We have multiple catches.
It's terrible. Anyway, I will do a part 1 and part 2 for my catch, and then I'll have a part 3 in a bit, because my part 1 and part 2 is MMA Junkie episode 2631 and 2632. MMA Junkie 2631 had Big John in studio the entire episode, which was awesome. It's just Big John basically, he opens up talking about how he got Frank Trigg into reffing and how Frank Trigg worked his ass off. Big John also mentioned John Danaher on Rogan's podcast, and how it was one of the first times he heard Rogan essentially be quiet and not be trying to listen and catch up with the guests, which was hilarious to hear Big John talking about JRE, because you forget how much Big John likes. Big John listens to a decent amount of podcasts. It's mostly the popular ones, but let's see. And then John went through and addressed the Jeremy Stevens knee situation. I got a couple quotes here. Did the knee touch him on the way up? If no, or if you're unsure about it, you don't stop the fight. So when he was throwing the knee on the way, not on the way back down after the knee already hit its peak and comes back down, but on the way up, if you see that knee get thrown and you don't either see it land or you're unsure about it landing, you don't stop the fight, according to Big John. Which I think is probably the right way to approach that, because you can't stop a fight for something you think maybe landed.
No, you have to be 100% sure, because if someone calls you out and you do, well, I wasn't too sure, then you
look at the replay, and then you're like, what the fuck, bro?
Oh, then you become totally, you can't be relied on.
No, it's like the Josh Koscheck situation back in the day, where Josh Koscheck was like, they looked at the replay and they go, yeah, that didn't land. I don't know why you just flopped on your face like that.
Or even, who is it, Overeem? I felt him tap. Well, let's go ahead.
Well,
that's different.
That's more head trauma issue, but yeah. And John talks about like what's the problems with the way athletic commissions handle rules right now. He asked at one point, Gorgeous George and goes, what a downed opponent is. And the fact that they were like, well, a downed opponent is if you don't have both hands on the ground or both knees, or no way, actually just one knee. And he's like, that's exactly the problem, is the fact that everyone always has to like qualify it and no one immediately knows what it is the big problem. He calls out ahead of time, because this was on Monday. He calls out that John Jones isn't going to make it out of the CSAC meeting easily, like that California State Athletic Commission meeting where he got fucking... Oh, I have some stuff to say about how Malky Kala did during that. It's real hilarious. He also does say, though, that he doesn't think John Jones took anything intentionally, which Andy Foster of the California State Athletic Commission also said. And I kind of think, too. I don't think he intentionally... Well, here's the only reason I think John might have taken something illegally. If he was told it has a short, lifetime in your system, and if he was taking it only for a mental edge... Not at all physical edge. Just the fact that he knew, hey, still have that little bit of mental edge. Even if I'm not, full blown, still got something. Like, that, and it's the slimmest margin of bullshit. I honestly think, yeah, probably he did creatine or Coke that was Coke with creatine, which I have done allegedly some of, and is around. I mean, that's one of the more popular ones. That caffeine and caffeine, I think, are the two main ones I've seen people cut Coke with recently. At least people I know who cut Coke.
Insane people do it with Adderall, but that's if you want.
Well, yeah, but that's if you have the biggest meth base fucking user base.
Yeah, my parents did meth.
Yeah,
it's in the genes.
Yeah, but the couple people I know who have cut Coke generally lean towards caffeine or. Every once in a while, creatine. So, I kind of
people will
that.
Fucking cut it with certain types of Molly and shit. If it's
Oh yeah, yeah, but it's
whatever you classify as regular ecstasy,
right.
And it's uncut, or.
But most of it is more of a cost-based thing.
Yeah.
And creatine and caffeine are cheap as shit, and it'll give you an extra buzz, like an energy buzz off of it. So. That's why I generally have seen that. And then they talk a bit about, one caller calls in and asks John's opinion on Dundasso. He even brings up, Chad Dundas sometimes talks about it on his podcast that it's probably better off to just cheat in the first place because, they're not going to call you the first time on a foul. So, which was fucking hilarious. And John's like, I like Chad, but I think he's probably being a little over the top when he says that. But I thought that was hilarious. And then Sam Alvey calls in and talk about landing that crazy counterhook KO and talk a bit about the Bellator heavyweight tourney. But just fun episode. I really like Big John. And all of his insight in the Jeremy Stevens situation I think is very, very helpful and interesting. It's the exact reason why I miss his podcast, Let's Get It On with Big John McCarthy, that I did with Sean Wheelock. Because that was the best insight into every single week. You got basically Big John's version of, hey, here's my take on this crazy referee shit, or on this weird judging situation, or that kind of stuff. So I thought that was cool. And then quickly, I will run through, very, very briefly, MMA Junkie 2632, which had a ton of guests. Mike Bond is in studio for the episode, who I like a lot. He's friends with Jordan Breen, Canadian dude, I believe. And he flew in from California, I believe. for the episode. Kat Zingano swings by the studio to talk about her fight against Ketlin Vieira. She does talk about having a win over Amanda Nunes, and she talks about a crazy street fight story where she push-kicked a dude. That's pretty good.
When was that?
I don't know.
It must not
just
have
like at a
been
random
recent,
after party for a show.
Maybe
Like after she had her kid though, because she said her kid was with her.
Okay, so this is 10 years ago. I think.
No, it's pretty.
Did you wait? Oh, you meant after?
After, yeah.
I thought you meant like right after she had her kid. She
I
got
mean,
the street
her
fight.
kid was involved in the story.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, pretty interesting. Andre Arlovski swings by the studio. They basically just had a string of fighters that were fighting this weekend.
That's cool.
Which is real cool, all in one episode. Andre comes in to talk about how he's moved to ATT from Jackson's and how he likes his fight against Struve. So that was cool. There's also some great videos out there of Andre Arlovski and John Dodson fucking around. And the UFC 100% needs to make a Fight Pass show out of that. It's hilarious. It's just like John Dodson diving on leg locks and
I've
shit.
seen that in embeddeds before. They'd like call each other big brother, little brother kind of thing. And he fucking tries to jump on Arlovski's back.
He just constantly trying to wrestle fuck Arlovski and shit. And Arlovski's just like push kicking him the whole time.
6'1", 6'2"?
Oh, he's huge.
He's like a foot taller than him.
At least a foot taller. It's crazy. Yeah, it's super funny. Adam Milstead swings by to talk about how he's moving down to light heavyweight, and poor Adam Milstead. Well, first off, Adam Milstead's dope because he's a big fan of Dogfish Head, which is a great beer if you guys are not aware of Dogfish Head.
Delaware.
Yeah, fucking fantastic. Shouts
Lots
out
of
to
good collabs, too.
Yeah, shouts out to Sam Callion.
Shouts out to 90-minute IPA.
Yeah, 120-minute more specifically.
Oh, they didn't even know they had that one.
Or Palo Santo Marron, which is my personal favorite of theirs, which is the 12% beer Ben Folks drank on the original co-main event drinking game episode. So, highly recommend that. But, yeah, poor Adam's cutting weight, and the entire time they talk to him about beer and pizza and, like, food. Like, just, like, Philly cheesesteaks and pizza and all that stuff. It's good.
Yeah, it's
fun.
gotta be rough to listen to that.
But yeah, it's gotta be tough for Adam for sure. But they did give out some dope pizza recommendations in Vegas, even though they're sleeping on Pizza Rock. Pizza Rock off Fremont is the fucking truth. I'm telling you guys. If you're ever in Vegas, go to Pizza Rock. It's fucking great. Zach Otto swings by for a bit to talk about his upcoming fight with Mike Pyle. He tells a street fight story where his crew fought Latrell Sprewell's crew one time.
I've heard of that name before.
It's a fucking old NBA player.
Yeah.
The guy who grabbed the coach by the neck.
Yeah, he played for the New York Knicks, I believe.
He grabbed the coach by the neck during his run. But yeah, that was a weird fucking story. Cody Stamen is in studio to talk about his fight with Caraway.
Cody Flowercock.
Yeah. No, by the way, so disappointed in Connor Rebush this week for no Flowercock puns on the Vivisection. It might have made my list if he would have added a Flowercock pun or two. But no, I think he ran out, to be honest. How many can you make?
He was going
for like
Eugene S. Robinson said, "Hey, by the way, Nate, do you know that stamen is an important parts of a flower?"
Yep. That's a good way to phrase that. Oh, that's funny. And then lastly, Andre Sukumtat joins the show to talk about...
Andre, soccer mom, as O'Malley kept calling him during Embedded.
Well, fucking O'Malley is smoking way too much weed trying to pronounce things correctly.
Welcome to the Sugar Show.
Bro. Oh, Sugar Show, G.
Weed, MMA, and Fortnite. Life of like a 22 or 23-year-old, apparently.
I mean, to be fair, I was not that far off. There was a lot more booze and a lot less working out involved. But yeah, Andre Sukumtat joined the show and talked about his fight with Sean and like moving with his family and how he's doing better off now. But
they're from not the Philippines, right?
I believe he is the first.
Wasn't it somewhere in Southeast Asia? It was some country.
I think he's the first Laotian fighter.
Oh, he's a Lao fighter.
I think he's from Laos. Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah.
But yeah, so just fun interview and just a great episode. Like if you guys want, normally I recommend John Morgan's show, the MMA Roadshow, for like if you want fighter interviews week of. That's normally my go-to. But since we're recording this on a Thursday, and since MMAJunkie just fucking killed it in one episode, they had like 6 of the dudes on the card. It's fantastic. Highly, highly recommend it. Really liked it. So I recommend checking that out. But why don't we get into one of the other episodes you recommend people catch this week?
The other one for me, as I scroll up real quick, is Forrest Griffin's podcast, Anything Goes.
That was on my list. I didn't get to it, though.
Yeah, Forrest Griffin with his co-host TJ Lavin. How many fucking TJs are there in podcasts? Holy shit.
Also, TJ Lavin, the pro biker, if you guys don't know.
Oh, they did talk about that a lot.
Yeah, professional BMX rider.
I had no idea. That's why I was like, why are they talking about
was in the
BMX?
Olympics and, is
So,
legit.
anyways, their guest...
Olympics. X Games. I meant X Games, not Olympics.
It's like extreme Olympics, but then again, skateboard just come to the Olympics in 2020, which would be pretty dope.
Oh, Nia Houston finally get a medal. I assume that little kid is still. I say little kid. He's probably like 30
Nigel Houston's, I think, is like 24, 25 now, but still.
He was like 6 foot tall when I was or like 6 foot. He was like 3 foot tall when I was watching him originally.
Anyways, their guest was heavyweight champion Stipe Miocic.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to check this one out, but I didn't get to it. How'd it go?
I thought it was great. I didn't write too many notes, so basically Stipe, not Steepy. Stipe was talking about how he loved filming and coaching Tough. He's been a fan of Tough before.
Cool. Yeah, I know DC's been having fun with it, too.
He said DC was really cool, cordial, everything went well.
I mean, of course. They're like the two nicest dudes ever.
I think he kind of alluded to once where they kind of pranked each other quite a bit.
I would assume, because DC's a fucking prankster, as we heard on Talking Dog.
They were talking about if you were to choose any sport, you can make a lot of money and be a professional. What would it be? And I agree with this 100%. And this would be my main sport.
Curling?
It's professional golfer, because he said if you make thousands of dollars, even if you get last place. That's the good old happy-go-more mindset.
And you're allowed to drink.
So I get paid even no matter where I place.
Yeah.
And you can be like John Daly. And if you want, not every pro golfer does do blow, bang some hookers, and drink Jack Daniels.
And you be fat as fuck.
Yeah, you can go do a round.
Yeah, no, it's exactly the kind of life that...
And throw your club into a lake.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
it checks out. Just, yeah.
TJ and who's the other guy's name? Forrest. What am I blanking?
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
You mean the light heavyweight champ of the world, former light heavyweight champ of the world?
I thought it was 3 seconds. I was like, TJ and Forrest were saying, "Hey man, you should maybe move out to Vegas if you're ever to move somewhere, right? We got a lot of fighters out here." Stipe was saying, "I'm never leaving Cleveland." But Forrest and TJ...
There's no way Stipe's moving to fucking Vegas.
Yeah, no. Forrest and TJ are basically saying, our plan currently is we're going to divorce our wives, keep them as side chicks or mistresses, of course.
Right.
But we're going to get married together so we can become joint mayors of Vegas and make more money.
That checks out.
Shit.
That sounds like a Forrest plan if I've ever heard one.
At one point, you can actually audibly hear TJ trying to eat the mic. He puts the mic in his mouth.
Okay, I'm into this.
Stipe talked about...
how much weed do they smoke before the show?
Not enough.
It sounds like a lot.
Stipe was talking about... He went to a hospital in Cleveland, county area before, who was handcuffed to a bed, and he was seemed like I was really strong, was like trying to bust out of the handcuffs. It was just all aggro. And he talked to the guy in just a regular calm manner. The guy said, "Yeah, man, I train MMA. Do you?" The guy had no idea. Stipe, and of course Stipe's like, "Yeah, I actually fight in the UFC." And he's like, he don't want to say he's champ. And the guy was like, just like fucking, "Oh shit, no way!" As this guy's handcuffed to a bed.
That's hilarious. That's ridiculous.
Stipe talked about the first time he met Joe Silva. And he said it was.
I bet that was awkward.
He said it was really awkward because Joe thought Stipe was like Mirko Krokop and was fresh off the boat from Croatia.
Right, because of the shorts.
And he was literally like, "You speak English?" He's like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "Wait, you're American?" He's like, "Dude, my parents are from there and they brought me here." Like, it's okay, Joe. I'm from Cleveland, Joe. Yeah. And Joe's like, "Oh, great."
Joe lost so much of his heart on for Stipe when he heard that.
Yeah.
Joe went from being so hyped up Stipe.
He probably wanted to be like, no English.
Yeah. He wanted to sound like Andre.
Because, yeah, that's true. If you look at Stipe, you could be like, "Hey, it's Stipe Miocic."
I thought he had an accent when I first heard him.
Oh, dude, no. When I heard the name, I was like, "Oh, another Croatian like Krokop. Yeah. Cool." He's a badass heavyweight. Then when they were talking about TJ and BMXing, they said, hey, he mentioned inline skating or rollerblading, or
hilarious.
As most people call it, fruit booters.
Yeah, that's right. Fruit booting, bro.
They're like, is fruit booting still a thing? They're like, evidently, in L.A.
That's hilarious.
A lot of people get down with the fruit booting.
Yeah, shouts out to Team X Blades.
And he was actually saying, he's like, yeah, dude, some of those motherfuckers can, I guess, shred on, like, the blades or whatever. I mean, that's a thing.
It's hilarious.
But I think that thing's, like, so 90s, though.
The only thing I ever think of...
shouts out to Brink.
I was going to say,
Team Pumpin' Suds.
I only ever think of two things when I hear about rollerblading, and it's fucking Brink and Team Pumpin' Suds. Or it's the movie with Seth Green, where they race down Devil's Backbone.
Oh yeah.
Oh, what's the name of that goddamn movie? I've done a commentary. I've done a commentary for it with Gio.
I just remember that dude Val, who's like the villain. That part where like they're going to.
Well, that's for Brink.
That's in Brink, but his face when he's just like this or some shit, and it's like that GIF someone made.
I'm gonna have to look up that Seth Green movie, but anyway, keep going.
But anyways, the last note I put, because I only listened, I think it was like an hour and a half or 2 hours long. I think I listened about an hour of it, like about half. But basically they're saying to Stipe, hey man, Vegas is such a great city because you can get a hooker to bring your groceries at 3 a.m. in the morning, and they'll just do it.
Okay, yeah, no, if that's what you're looking for, that's definitely the place you should be in.
Because Stipe was talking about, too, he's like, well, I'm not going to get a hooker at 3 a.m. He's like, the one time I was in Vegas, I can't remember when he said he was. It was before he was, married. I think this is probably about, like, good almost 10 years ago. I think he said he was in college. He said, basically, he was just out just getting drinks. He just wanted to get, like, hard liquor and get fucked up with his buddies. And some old man kept saying, oh, you want to get some harder stuff? When he meant harder stuff, he didn't know the guy meant, like, drugs, like cocaine and shit. Stipe was like, nah, man, I'm good. Appreciate it, though. And this dude was, like, 75 years old, wanting to do blow. And
checks
shit.
out.
And it's just like,
I got offered blow, heroin, or weed, like, I'm going to say 10 times in Vegas, probably 7 to 10, like 6 of which were on one bridge, one overpass bridge. I know exactly what bridge
right by the New York. Were there people strumming acoustic guitars without shoes on?
Yes, there was. There was also sad-looking dogs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's right by the New York when I was when you walk back towards the Stratosphere.
Were there also people carrying those weird-looking plastic margarita things?
Oh well, that was everyone. Yeah.
That's like $30.
Actually, no. There was a guy carrying a fucking bottle of Hennessy. Is what I saw. But yeah, fucking ridiculous. Also, the name of the Seth Green rollerblading movie, Airborne. Highly recommend it. It's really 90s and very terrible, but very fun. So yeah, that show's actually really good. The problem is it doesn't seem like it focuses on fighting much.
They did talk about a couple things, but
I don't mean that episode. I mean that show in general.
But that show, no, I didn't even finish the show. I just thought it was a catch because it was hilarious.
Yeah, I'm with you. It sounds great.
Anything Stipe's on, so that's why I can't wait for Tough.
For sure, I think that Tough season's gonna be super good. And then I guess I'll get into my last catch that I had, which is the Big Brown Breakdown, episode 68, which is the last ever episode of the Big Brown Breakdown.
Because of...
It's changing its name to the Below the Belt podcast, which... We'll get to that in a second. He taped this on Monday, which they're doing going forward. Brendan does talk about... And also, shouts out to Brendan for putting out a good goddamn episode of a podcast for once. I didn't have to skip it. There was some bullshit at the beginning, but it was like, meh. It wasn't terrible. He did talk a lot about La Jolla Comedy Store, which was great. Also talks a lot about how he fucking is in love with La Jolla, which of course he is. Seems like exactly the kind of place Brendan would like. It's like, oh man, there's all these uppity white people in coffee places. I'm
surprised I didn't see him at my work.
You might have, honestly.
Or maybe my brother did. Maybe he went there at night.
I would bet you he went to every coffee place near your work, pretty much.
I'll just say this: the one coffee place he probably went to was the Elixir. That place is bomb because they have like their own like craft style like tea.
He said he went to like 6.
Yeah, no, he definitely went there. Cause I'm not like I like tea. But I tried craft tea. I'm like, dude, this is fucking good. Like, this is now like iced tea. It's not even iced tea. It's like herbal tea, but they can ice it. And anyways, knowing him, he went there.
Super into it, for sure.
Yeah, he probably went to the fucking cigar shop in La Jolla, too.
Maybe
not. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know if that's his style.
It would be if like he was hanging out with Rogan and them, but I think it was just him down there.
That makes sense, especially with Callan.
Yeah, because he did do shows down here last weekend, but I was not able to make it since we recorded on Friday and we had baby problems on Saturday. Because shocking, our friend Lacey, got pregnant. Shocking. Just saying, you got a friend named Lacey. Look out, there's a baby coming. So, yeah, we got to deal with that, which is actually a lot of fun. Got to see... Actually,
it was a good time.
Shouts out to, which I need to shout out way more often on this podcast, our buddy Mustachio, Sammy Welsh, who does the music for the show. We got to hang out with him and get faded. So that was tight. Missed that guy. But yeah, good episode of Big Brown Breakdown. There was a lot of talk about his new show for Showtime, which, like, whatever. I kind of expected that. But it's only like maybe 10, 15 minutes of him blabbering about it. Other than that, mostly talk about La Hoya, talk about him eating shit a bunch of times over the weekend, including on a bike or on a scooter rather, and in front of his kid's school when he was running in with this kid. Pretty good. And then Brendan does a couple things this week that really was the reason why I had him as a catch. So at one point, as a matter of fact, this will probably be our upcoming... I don't know what our intro was yet. I know what our next break and the break after is. And I add the intro in later. It's probably me, Jordan Breen, talking about something crazy. But for our next break, Brendan brings up the best point of all time, which is that the UFC is fucking awful at promoting. Right now on their website, if you go to UFC 222, there's a picture of Cyborg, and there's a TBA shadow picture of Yunitskaya, who is clearly just Shadow Misha Tate. And Brendan shouts out that he not only knows, he's like, yo, that's clearly Shadow Misha Tate right there.
I'm gonna check the app. I really
go ahead.
That's what this is comedy.
Do it while we're doing this. And the reason why I thought it was hilarious is I never recognized it was Misha Tate. But Brendan goes, that's clearly Shadow Misha Tate. Chen goes, how do you know? How do you know it's Misha? He goes, I know that ass anywhere. You're like, oh, Jesus, Brendan. But I thought that was hilarious and way on the nose, but still funny. So there's a lot of weird stuff in this episode.
Looks like the app has all the... I don't know. The app is okay.
Oh, well, yeah. So it was the website specifically where they do the full body picture. That one wasn't there, at least when he did it.
Oh, nope.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
When you click on her profile, it's just Shadow Misha Tate.
It is Misha Tate.
Yep. Pretty funny. And then Brendan actually introduces the audience to Kunitskaya via her Wikipedia page, since the UFC has done zero introduction of Kunitskaya to anyone.
Great.
Like, have you heard any information about Kunitskaya?
Nope.
Other than, like, she once fought Tanya Evinger.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and she was like the former Invicta Bantamweight champ as well. Like, no.
That's all they've said, which, like, she had a long boxing history. She's pretty well versed. She had some scrappy fights, coming off a win over Raquel Paul Louis that was scrappy. Yeah, it's crazy. And so Brendan goes through and literally runs down her Wikipedia page and tells everybody, like, yo, everybody's kind of sleeping on this chick. She's kind of dope. And then the episode just goes off the rails like normal. Chen admits he's never had a Girl Scout cookie, and Brendan loses his goddamn mind. It's like, how long have you been in this country? It's like, I don't know, 38 years?
That is kind of nuts,
It's crazy.
That is nuts.
So yeah,
how the fuck if you know how to Thin Mint?
Yeah, so Brendan's that's exactly what he said.
Or a Samoa. I think those are the two best ones.
Oh, Tagalongs, bro.
Tagalongs too, yeah. Like,
those are the three.
Those are the three.
Brendan literally says, he's bringing in hella boxes next week for Chen. Also, Brendan reads a tweet from Brian Kelleher telling, hey, Brendan Schwab, here's how to pronounce my name, and he sounds it out for him.
Schwab.
Yeah. And
you should have said Brandon Schwab.
Yeah, and Brendan, like, sarcastically shits on him, and then is like, alright, well, yeah, I'm obviously a big fan after that went over Brow. Brendan hints about the Brock Lesnar versus John Jones fight if Brock comes back, which this was recorded before the John Jones hearing with the California State Athletic Commission. However, that's the second place I think I heard that rumor. So I'm not positive, but the first place I heard that rumor, and they didn't say the names of the people, was on Believe You Me 49 this week. Sorry, 51 this week. The one not with Alan Joban. Luis J. Gomez and Bisping are talking about... Bisping's like, oh, I heard there's Brock's coming back, and I think I know he's fighting, but I don't want to be an Ariel Helwani about it. So Luis is like, text it to me right now. So Luis texts him, who is Brock fighting? And Bisping makes fun of him and texts it back. And Luis loses his shit. I think it's John Jones. I think
No, I'd put money in that right now. I'd put clean $50.
Yeah.
They're gonna do it. What's gonna happen, I think, is the California State Athletic Commission won't suspend him.
Well, they didn't
outright.
suspend him. What they did is they revoked his license, which can be renewed as soon as August.
So they'll just have him fight.
They're waiting on USADA's ruling.
Like, they revoked his license to fight in California, or just his license altogether?
If you revoke a license, most athletic commissions are going to honor that.
Okay.
So you have to basically reapply in California
What I
and get
think
that
will
reapproved.
happen
But
is-
they still have to wait for the USADA arbitration hearing where they get to decide the suspension.
If he clears that, I mean, this
He
is
won't
the-
clear it.
No. I think he probably will be suspended. I don't see how you won't at this point.
The question is how long?
I think it's going to be about a year.
Well, he's already going to be... If it's a year, he can fight as soon as that hearing happens. Because it's a year from when the fight happened.
So this is what they'll do. Dana will try to get the he'll try his best to get that shit delayed till like fucking November. He'll probably fight Brock in August or September.
No, you would have to have the hearing before he fights.
Oh, before.
Yeah.
So he could still fight though, right after the hearing.
If they only give him a year, he can fight immediately.
Okay, well, we'll see. Either way, I wouldn't be too surprised if it's him versus Brock. I think that's the logical step. He's not going to fight DC. No, they're going to have him fight Brock. It's going to be a money fight.
It's gonna. It sounds like it's gonna be Brock in like October, November.
And I would totally watch the shit of it. That'd be hilarious. That'd be entertaining. I think it'd be more entertaining than some people would think.
It'd be a crazy fight.
I think that'd be because Brock, steroids or not, that motherfucker. I won't want him trying to take me down.
Also,
I don't think John Jones would want Brock Lesnar. So he's gonna have like what a 50-pound weight advantage.
Oh, way more than that.
Oh my god.
Brock cuts to 65. I would assume.
No, I think someone said he's like 285, 290.
Yeah.
Like, he's such a huge dude.
Although John's got to be like in the 40s at this point.
Yeah. Oh, he's probably gonna be like 240. He'll probably weigh in as much as like Stipe does, a little under, something like that. Like
Because all he's been doing is lifting, according to fucking everything he's been posting. But, pretty interesting that both Brendan and Luis seem to be hinting at that too. So that's starting to sound real likely. And then after that, he broke down the boxing card with Wilder a little bit. Talked about his UFC 222 picks. Was a big fan of Mark Henry. And talks about... He literally said he thinks Mark Henry is the best coach ever. And he also talked about Frankie Edgar, who on the Below the Belt show that he did, which we'll talk about. I thought it was okay. It's clearly just a TMZ ripoff.
Me and you, if we say we just had an issue just with the certain cuts that we edited.
My god!
It was
the
edited
fucking
very
directing.
poorly.
The directing was terrible.
Yeah, I had nothing wrong. Brendan Schaub, I thought, did a fine job. It's just a show. It's just what you expect when you see and listen to Brendan Schaub. I like Brendan Schaub.
Yeah, he's fine.
But yeah, I just hated the editing. That was just my main gripe with it.
Especially in that single, like in the studio, they keep cutting. The straight on shot is fine. The shot to the side that's like a little low is not to the left it's a little low is not that bad, but there's a shot to the right that's on the floor where you can see the dude with the camera on the left side in the background, and it's just the most jarring shit of all time.
The one I hated was this, when he was like this with his hands, camera goes like this, like into his hands in the background of his face.
There's just like a lot of very weird shitty over directing in that.
It was like an intern that they hired to do the fucking videography.
Chen would do better video. I've seen Chen do better videography than that. So, we'll see how that show goes. For first episode, it wasn't bad, and I do like that they went to get pizza with Frankie Edgar, which was dope. And said Frankie Edgar ate 4 pieces of pizza like 4 weeks out from this fight, and he was only 7 pounds over.
Rolling or some shit or some sort of training.
Well, he was only 7 pounds over too, which is insane. Like, Ortega right now is still like 15 pounds over, and we're night before weigh-ins. Like, he's probably like 10 by this point. Anyway, yeah, it was a good show. I like probably the best Big Brown Breakdown I've heard since the Ortega one, or up there at least. So thought it was fun.
Cool.
So we will get into our skips, and then we don't even have any can't miss it this week. So why don't you get into your skip?
Because what I'll do is I'll mention the skip now, and then since we don't have a can't miss, I'll just mention some other podcasts, like 2 or 3 notes. Should we do that last?
We'll do that at the end because I have a new show that I want to cover too. But yeah, why don't you get into your skip?
My skip is a combination technically because it's the same guys that did it.
Yep.
So mine's Care Don't Care, and then If I Did It.
Okay.
If I Did It. That's not really a skip. I didn't really actually listen to the whole thing. They mainly talked about the John Jones thing, which I'll let you talk about because you know more about it.
Right.
So maybe I'll save that for later, because when the stuff I was listening to, I was literally like, "What the fuck is going on?" Like,
but that's what that show has devolved into, them making references that cracks themselves up, and like
it was a lot of court talk, and I know a little bit stuff about like court proceedings, how they work, from just like some court journalism stuff I did in a class. But as far as like when they were talking about Jones killing himself with his testimony that he gave, see, that's why I wanted you to talk about it. And
and even then, I don't have a lot of notes on it because number one, I was drunk when I was listening to this actually last night, and number two, so they go pretty in depth on how Jones just buried himself in front of Malky, which I fucking love. Fucking squirmy ass Malky. It's the greatest thing that's ever happened on the internet. I'm still working on it. I need to make so many good memes about squirmy Malky. Cause oh my god, does that dude just literally like squirm in his fucking seat every time he gets mentioned?
Just go on Reddit and just make it a flare. Squirmy Malky.
It's so good. Oh man.
Or Squirmy Kawa.
The salty Kawa is obviously the go-to. If you guys, again, not on MMA.
Yeah, the stuff I had written down is apparently one of Jones' managers like forged documents for him or something like that.
Malkikawa.
Oh yeah, that was him. Because that is his manager.
He actually went on and not only forged documents.
Dude, can he get his license revoked? Like his managing license revoked for doing
shit? I don't know if there's a license for MMA management, to be honest.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I think you're right, because remember I did listen to a podcast, so technically anyone can be a
it's
man.
Fucking ridiculous.
No, I think you're absolutely right. As far as like sports agencies go, because it's nothing. Because the most prestigious is baseball. After that's football.
Well,
baseball.
But that's because they have unions.
But that's why. I'd say baseball because Scott Boras, he's the most renowned baseball. He does like Alex Rodriguez. He has all the time, like Mike Trout.
Like, just show me the money guy.
Yeah. No, he gets you fucking paid. Giancarlo Stanton got traded to the Yankees for the Marlins. That dude, but you know what I mean. But yeah, MMA, I don't think it's.
Well, especially and Malky's one of the most renowned, to be honest, him and his brother. But yeah, Malky went on and not only completed the USADA training course for John Jones, but forged his signature. And John Jones said both of those things in court. He's like, oh yeah, no, I didn't. They're like, did you not go on and do the training course? He's like, no, my manager did that. And they're like, but we have your signature. He's like, yeah, no, he signed it for me. And you just see Malky turn bright red, start squirming in the back. It's the fucking best.
I gotta watch that. Did someone have? I don't know. I gotta find.
There's YouTube video.
And then the other thing I wrote down that confused me, it said Jones bought supplements off of a bodybuilding website, but then it said somewhere about like charging $400 an hour. I don't know what that was all about.
So John Jones did not buy supplements off a bodybuilding website. He did, however, buy an expert who was a doctor.
Oh, we bought the expert who charged him.
Yeah, the doctor charged him $395 an hour. And he said, I've been doing research into this, and from what I found on bodybuilding websites, it lasts in your system for this long. And that was his testimony, which is fucking amazing. But yeah, and also it should be noted, Alexi, I believe, is either in pre-law or like going to school for some kind of law stuff. Who's one of the hosts, and then the other host that's not Eugene is Nate, who of course his wife is the district attorney of where he lives, so they're pretty well versed in law, so like it definitely gets kind of technical.
Which brings me to Care Don't Care, the other podcast that Nate and Eugene Robinson were on this week. This was a funny podcast. It's my skip because it's not really MMA relevant.
No, they go off the rails.
The first thing they talked about were Nazis and how Glenn Danzig of the Misfits, for those who live under a rock, and when he went solo. Yeah. Once said Nazis are basically Wolverines in brown suits.
He did say that.
Eugene was talking about do fat cokeheads make sense? Or is that an anomaly or contradiction? So I understand where he's coming from. Yes and no. Yeah,
I've known a couple. I think
it's more or less to the point where it's like if you're fat already and they decide to do a bunch of blow all the time. Right. And that's about it.
Like if I liked Coke anymore, I would be one, but I don't like Coke that much.
Yeah. He said, what about sex fiends who love blow? So there's kind of the whole thing about that. Basically Vegas shit.
Yeah.
So, Eugene, and then of course the talk about Care Don't Care. He was talking about Brian Caraway. He said, I don't give a shit about Brian Caraway unless it comes with bikini photos of Misha Tate, but that's not happening anymore.
Right. Hold right there. I gotta piss so fucking bad.
I do as well, so actually I'm gonna do it right when you come back. Perfect. So continuing with
Yeah, we should say we had to take a piss break because we were both fucking going full Brendan Schaub on the bladder. So
yeah, I wasn't shaking my leg, thank goodness. But basically, we were talking about cocaine and sex fiends in Vegas.
Shouts out to John Jones.
Eugene S. Robinson also said Cody Stamen, because his last name basically means flower cock. Says has flowers important parts. He was just going on a rant. Then after that, they started for about 15 minutes straight discuss speed metal, punk scene, hardcore scene in the late 80s, early 90s. Crazy nights for Eugene when he said he would have sex 4 times in one night with a bunch of chicks. Everyone's all fucked up and
on meth. Yeah.
He said it was wild. I think he said he felt like his dick was gonna fall off. It just basically was out of commission.
Yeah, so the reason why this is a skip is also the reason why it's a good podcast, what you're saying.
If you want to hear fun, wild stories kind of coupled in with, all right, by the way, this guy's fighting this guy. Oh, who do you pick? Don't care. Okay, anyways, back to, this wild party I was at.
Right. Like, I kind of care about John Dodson, but I don't give a fuck about Pedro Munoz, so let's keep going. That kind of shit.
Exactly. So that's my combined skip of the week.
Well, so my skip is the exact opposite kind of fun. My skip is a vacuum of fun. My skip is full of faux outrage and clickbait. I have the MMA Fortnight episode 423, in which Ariel fucking lost his goddamn mind.
Oh yeah, right in the beginning.
Oh my god.
Like, I remember I was thinking, like, how awkward is this, like, if someone's, like, watching him say this, or if it's watching the video. I'm glad I didn't watch the video.
Oh, it was awful. He was just kept freaking out about the Jeremy Stevens knee, being like, saying phrases like, this is my... Everyone keeps saying, why do I care so much? This is my life. And just, like, the craziest person shit. You're like, what the fuck, Ariel?
People don't understand. There's the old rules, and then there's the new rules, and then there's just no clarification about this, you guys. It's just about the fighter's health. It's about the integrity of the sport.
Yeah,
shit like that. So
yeah, a lot of, what are you talking about? Move on. This is my life.
I'll just...
Keeps calling for a national commission.
Should we discuss our thoughts about it in the next segment when we discuss the fight?
Yeah, we'll do that. But Jesus Christ, Ariel went off the fucking rails. And I figured out why. I figured out why he went so fucking off the rails. So the broadcast wasn't that bad they just didn't really address it. What are you gonna do about addressing it? They, like, DC mentioned, like, the elbows and the knees.
I'll say this: shady. I didn't watch the part after the fights. I saw something about Cruz and DC.
Yes. So
what was that about?
So if you guys know of a little show on Fox called, I don't know what they call that show. UFC on Fox? What do they call the post-fight show?
I don't know.
Yeah, UFC Tonight.
Something like that.
Thank you, yes.
It was Bisping and Cruz were at the desk.
Right. Bisping and Cruz were at the desk.
No, it was Kurt Menefee.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah, sorry, excuse me. It was Kurt Menefee who was at the desk.
With Bisping and Cruz. And then Jeremy Stevens stops by at one point, too. Right? So, of course, Cruz, Alliance guy, obviously going to back Jeremy because Cruz is down for the homies. And, here's what I realized. You remember what Fox show Ariel used to work for?
Yeah.
That's why dude's so mad about this. It's because he's like, oh, well, fucking... That old show I used to work... He mentioned that... I didn't realize it. He mentioned that show like 15 times about why he was so mad about this.
Oh, yeah.
But I never put it together because he kept trying to tie it back...
on Fox weren't like... Blah, 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 blah.
Well, and he kept trying to tie it back to Jeremy Stevens, but then he kept saying, like, but no one on the broadcast addressed... And I kept thinking, like, on the broadcast they totally addressed it. Like, DC would address it, talked about it with John Anik. Like, I don't... But then I realized, oh, he's not saying the actual broadcast. He's saying the show he was fired from that he's still very salty about. So that's why I realized, oh shit, Ariel's losing his goddamn mind over this because he's angry that the broadcast is unbiased, despite him being very biased while working in that position at the time. So I thought that was ultra ironic, especially since he just kept throwing flames on the fire with this shit and kept like with all just the most amount of faux outrage and clickbait kind of shit he was saying over and over again, which of course every fucking casual fan is just gonna take that as gospel because that's how Ariel's show works. he's the only news outlet for casuals, evidently.
I feel like those fans like to make fun of him too, but
yeah, well, no, for sure, but they all repeat like
of course.
parrots. They're like it's the same Conor McGregor parrots. They just parrot Ariel all the time. So like whatever he says goes. Which is fine. I like Ariel, but like Jesus, that was frustrating.
Oh, dude, I was like driving to class in the morning when I was listening. I'm like, this is awkward.
It's bad radio. Like it's just bad content. He's just circling back on the same. It's like me when I'm drunk. He just keeps circling back on the same topic without saying anything new about it. He just keeps going back and saying like, oh, yeah. I as a drunk, I wonder if Ariel is off the wagon. I'm just kidding. He's the fucking most sober little man. However,
I've had wine once, Pulver.
Yeah. Oh, I had a Guinness 4 years ago in Ireland. It was way better over there. Fucking casual. Ariel's the biggest casual when it comes to drinking. It's so upsetting. If you're sober, I respect you. If you drink, I respect you. If you are afraid to have a beer, except for every 4 years because you're in Dublin, no respect. That's probably
they encourage you to fucking drink.
Yeah, right. If you can't have a beer with me, I probably can't be friends, bro. Unless you're sober, and then it's cool. Yeah, it was just upsetting, and then. So, yeah, he just keeps circling back on that. He then gets Derek Lewis on the phone, and the first thing he asks Derek Lewis is about the fucking knee that Derek Lewis has nothing to do with.
Yeah, he's like, I saw the fight, and then what did he say again? He said, I see that the knee grazed, or I don't really know.
Yeah, he said what everyone else said, which is like,
grazed.
Yeah.
Or maybe? He said maybe.
The knee grazed him, but it didn't affect the fight. Which is the exact right outcome. I mean, that's what everyone thinks. And then Ariel just keeps trying to circle back on it. Eventually, Derek talks about the boxer's fracture, and he's drinking a Michelob Light, and said he's tried Modelo when he was sober and when he was drunk, and it was fucking nasty on both times.
Didn't get in trouble when he said Bellator during the live broadcast to Jimmy Smith.
Yep.
Oh, you're still new to this game. You just came over from Bellator.
Hilarious. Oh, and also he makes fun of Ariel in this episode. He's like, before I came on, I saw you basically just talking to yourself with toys on your desk about a controversial knee.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with this motherfucker.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, there's something wrong with you too, Derek. You punch people in the face for a living. Yeah, but basically Derek tells him no one cares about his stupid fucking bullshit. And then after that, it was just like a string of clickbait bullshit. Mike Pyle calls in to say he's retiring after the fight because the juice is no longer worth the squeeze, which...
I remember that.
Number one, I question why the fuck Mike Pyle is fighting this weekend if the juice is no longer worth the squeeze.
You know what's going to happen then? He's probably going to get submitted. He's probably going to get squeezed. And then that's the fitting way to retire. Because he called himself out.
I don't know. If you saw his last fight, I don't know if he's going to get a chance to get squeezed.
Yeah. Touche.
Yeah, Gilbert Burns at one point calls in and talks about the weird weight situation at UFC Orlando, where like they basically pulled him from the card without, just because he was 30 pounds over. They just immediately pulled him. That was that fight he had against Olivier Aubin Mercier.
Wait, he was 30 pounds over?
No, so 30 pounds over before the weight cut.
Oh, I was gonna say that you said he weighed in 30 pounds.
No.
Like, how do you do that?
Didn't even let him cut weight.
Oh.
He showed up 30 pounds over, and they're like, "Fuck you."
I mean...
Showed up at 185 for a 155 fight. Which, like, a lot of dudes do. Darren Till, you tell me you're going to do that same shit to Darren Till, who's a fucking
I'm a fucking
mouthpiece.
fucking light heavyweight fighting a welterweight.
How about fucking James Vick, who just fought in Austin?
Yeah, he's easily 30 pounds over.
Oh, bro, 30 pounds over? Jesus, probably. He's the same height as Derek Lewis. Jesus Christ. And this is where I started getting upset. So, Ariel has Josh Emmett on. Ariel does not have Jeremy Stevens on the episode.
Because
not only...
you know why... we know why he had Josh Emmett on. Because that's the He already expressed how he felt about that.
Right,
thing,
but
which is why he's not going to have fucking Stevens on. He'll have the other guy on.
Right, but you at least pretend that you reached out to Stevens.
Yeah.
He didn't do any of that. He never once mentioned that he reached out to Stevens. Just ignored it and was like, well, Josh Emmett pushes my narrative. Jeremy Stevens doesn't, so why would I get Jeremy Stevens on? It's really fucking up. And I'm sure his excuse would be, oh, well, we heard Jeremy Stevens' side during the post-broadcast. Which is like the cheapest cop-out ever. That shit just bothered me, and I was already annoyed with how this whole show was going. It's bad when your skip has Derek Lewis on it. So I fucking love Derek Lewis. And then this is when it became a permanent skip. Is when fucking Artem Skypes in.
Wait. Oh, Artem Lobov.
Yeah. Because what the fuck is Artem doing on a fucking interview at this point in his career?
I'm fighting. He's like this, Ariel, you don't understand. I'm not fighting anyone. I'm fighting one of the great martial artists of all time. Watch.
Alex Caceres?
No. I was just going to say Bruce Lee. Artem, you still with us? Oh, excuse me. Bruce Leroy. I swear to God, he'd be like that. I'm fighting Bruce Lee.
Well, Alex Caceres at this point in his career is more deserving of being on that show than Artem Lobov. Not only that, Jeremy Stevens for sure is more deserving than being on the Artem Lobov.
Oh, I would almost make an argument right now. You put Jeremy Stevens number 6 ranked featherweight in the world, maybe number 5. I don't know what number 5 is, but you know what I mean? I say he's top 6. 100%. No. At this point, like, you can't just style a number 4 guy, right? Who, in our opinion, is really number 8 or 9, but that's our opinion. You know.
It's awful. God, where did Artem go in my notes? Oh, God, there's so many guys.
Oh, which brings into one other thing. I can't recall, as of right now, why he's ranked that way. I think it was heavy hands. Can you explain to me why Jose Aldo is still the number 1 ranked featherweight contender when he got finished in the last 2 fights?
To be fair to him, he's probably number 2.
Yeah, he should be number 2.
Because he should be ahead of Brian Ortega.
Yeah, no, he should. I think Frankie should just be number 1 and just call it that.
Yeah. If you can find my username, The Sound of Violence, on Tapology, which I don't know how to do that, so if you know how to do it, let me know, and I'll link that. But we have rankings up that I made that you, Mia, will take a look at some point and adjust. Good. But yeah, I think I had him at number 2, I believe, behind Frankie. I think I have Holloway, Frankie, Jose, and then probably Brian. Somebody else is right there too. I forget who. Anyway. Yeah, just this fucking Ariel show. Artem's just... Basically, Ariel calls Artem to talk about Conor. Let's be real. That's what that fucking call was about. He Skypes him. He asks him, like, oh, was that real about... like, the Conor taking the fight, and then Artem subtly mentions, oh yeah, or maybe it's Ariel I think it was Ariel that mentions, oh yeah, I heard it was, Conor said he already accepted that fight, so I don't know why people don't believe it. Conor just said he wanted to do it for a 165-pound belt on 4 weeks' notice. Which you're like, what the fuck does that mean?
Dude, Edgar...
He wants to fight a 145er at 165?
Edgar wouldn't even weigh 165.
No.
So how do you call it a 165 belt? Edgar probably weighs the most, and 158.
Also, what the fuck belt is that? Does that mean you're moving the 170 belt? You have to. You can't just have a belt 5 pounds apart from each other. Does that mean Tyron Woodley has to move up now because of you? What the fuck is that? That's the most non-offer bullshit.
It's a fucking catchweight money belt.
Oh, it's insane. Then it just gets worse. Brian Kelleher, who I really like, calls in and opens his call rapping. And Ariel reacts to it like the nerdiest goddamn white kid of all time, loving it. Which, of course, he does, because he's the same Momo who liked fucking Nick Lentz doing poems that Chael Sonnen wrote. Or actually, not even... Was it Chael that wrote those? Somebody wrote those. Maybe it was from O'Brien. Somebody terrible did. It's just awful.
This is all upsetting.
It just sucks. This whole episode sucks. Ariel keeps... So Frankie calls in to talk about the Conor stuff and how it's bullshit. That's when Ariel mentioned the 165-pound belt thing. Ariel tries to bait Frankie into talking about the Stevens finish and being like, and Ariel keeps saying the phrase, grazing is the same thing as landing.
No.
Which, is the most journalist-ass impression ever of a fight. Like, only journalists would say grazing is the same thing as landing.
And no, that's not journalist. That's a fucking journalist, because that's not objective. That's subjective.
Right.
No, because that's totally wrong. No, no. He made a ethical journalism error right there. Fuck you, Ariel.
I mean, he made an ethical journalism error by having fucking Artem Lobov.
I liked Ariel, but come on, that's some fucked up bullshit.
Terrible.
Grazing is the same as landing.
At one point, Ariel gets really surprised when he finds out that Hinzo is fighting Sakuraba, which is a known thing. That's been known. It's happening in one. Ariel finds out because Frankie tells him, and he gets all excited about it. Which has been out for like months. He's a goddamn jerk. Jesus Christ.
Can I just say this? Let's move on from... I don't know.
It gets...
What else do you have to say?
Here's the only thing I have left to say about this, because it's so fucking frustrating.
It's upsetting.
So two more things. Ariel whines a bunch about how Mackenzie Dern and Sean O'Malley aren't getting enough push from the UFC, because they're not at the open workouts.
No, they're getting pushed.
Which is They're literally the only two people getting pushed on this card.
Go to MMAfighting.com, Ariel, on fucking social media, Instagram. They have a big picture of Sean O'Malley and his fucking robe full of weed.
And also, fucking Mackenzie Dern probably shouldn't even be in the UFC at this point. She's won one fight in Invicta, albeit against Colleen Medeiros.
She's so young as shit.
No, she's older than that, but she's had a decent amount of BJJ experience.
Oh, it's her family that's like good at BJJ, or her dad.
No, she's had a ton of BJJ.
Well, I know she's good too. No, I know she's good too, but her dad was like some really good BJJ guy too.
Yeah, and I
forgot his name.
But the reason she's in is because she's good looking and they're pushing her.
Apparently
Ariel
she lost her accent.
Yeah. Oh, God, we'll talk about that.
I will talk about that, too.
So, Ariel talks a lot about Ronda and WWE, because of course he does, with Mark Raimondi at the end of the episode as well. However, the reason why this episode made me so fucking mad is because he had two awesome interviews. One with Patty Pemblett, who just won the belt at Cage Warriors 90, not the belt. He just got a win after losing the belt in his last fight with a flying triangle. Crazy fight.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Super cool. And a great interview with Patty. Super personable. Ariel keeps trying to make him Connor. And I know everyone wants to do that. And it's
I'd probably be annoyed if I was Patty.
Well, Patty was a 145 champ and went up to 155 to try and fight for that belt. Lost. But, that is, the Connor move. But it's kind of rough. And then he interviews... but it's a good episode... or a good interview, rather. And then he interviews Molly McCann, who Molly McCann is super charismatic, just won the title at 125 in Cage Warriors,
right on.
which is the first, I believe, women's title for Cage Warriors, at least at 125 for sure. Talks about eating a Big Mac and 50 chicken McNuggets after she won.
That sounds nuts.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
But McDonald's does do a 50-minute McNuggets box if you want to kill yourself.
Evidently. And then she talks just about her history and what the title meant to her. Just a fucking great interview. And those two interviews contrasted with all the hot garbage he put before and after was it's just so upsetting.
So basically there's moments where he took a dump and then put a diamond inside of that piece of shit.
Right. He literally buried two great interviews next to Artem Lobov, who should not be interviewed by anyone at this point in his career. And the only reason the interview happened is because he wanted to ask him about Connor and get stupid fucking headlines. And then he had Mark Raimondi on after, who I love Mark Raimondi, but it was to talk about Ronda and WWE. So it's it was just the most... I don't know that I've ever been as upset about an Ariel episode as I was with this one. Just absolutely disappointing across the board. And it had fucking Derek Lewis on it. Ugh.
So, what I'll do is, since my phone is a piece of shit and I need to get a new one, I'm just going to breeze through literally real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
A new podcast I haven't listened to before is the Roadwire podcast with John Letterine and Jake Laternsky, if I've said their names right. They basically were talking about Daniel Cormier versus Stipe and
What was the name of it again?
Roadwire Podcast.
Okay.
I saw it on MMAPodcast.com. They basically discussed DC fighting Stipe and how Stipe is going to be his toughest test yet. Or no, DC will be Stipe's toughest test yet with the wrestling. They said... It's a little harsh, and well, in my opinion, it's a little harsh how they went about this. They said there's no reason to believe Kunitskaya will win this fight or can be competitive. That's disservicing her.
That's a little
to
over
say
the
that
top.
no reason, that's way over the top. They say keep in mind Edgar versus Ortega is only 3 rounds. They said they wish it was 5. I think we all do.
Agreed.
They said both guys have chin, but John says he thinks Frankie's going to outpace him, be more fluid with his striking. They talked about Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Andre Sukmantat and how they both have fought mediocre guys before. I wouldn't say mediocre, but they fought guys that you should basically be pairing them against if you're starting out in the UFC. So I think it's not fair to call someone mediocre. Can you call them mediocre? Yes, you can. Of course you can. Based on who they fought. That's where I'm coming in from there. I think they'll come like, oh, this guy's mediocre as fuck. You know?
Right.
Yeah, I guess some people, if you want to be harsh, be harsh. They said anybody in the heavyweight division you should pick over Arlovski. Jesus Christ, that's
so wrong.
Yeah.
Anthony Hamilton?
Yeah. What about the former UFC guy, Gerald Mearshart?
Spitz?
Was it Mearshart? What was his name?
Yeah, Mearshart.
Yeah, no.
The fuck? Daniel Kelton. No, he's an 85.
They said there's still some hope for Kat Zingano. I mean, I would think so. They said, how much is Kat Zingano's time off going to affect her? We shall see.
That would be a big factor.
Brian Caraway has 17 submission wins, which is surprisingly impressive. That's very impressive, especially in that division.
A lot of those were a long time ago, though.
I know. Heavy Hands, episode 200.
That was a good episode.
Pat was talking about how he ate tacos with Jason High and saw Wonder Woman with Luke Saunders.
Yep, that's hilarious.
They said Cyborg should be able to use her jab much more effectively this time around. They both agreed. Cyborg clearly won every round of her fight against Holm. I agree with that since I watched it recently. I won't know if I'd say... I guess you could say clearly. It was still a competitive fight with the fact that Holm is game and she's tough. You can't really finish Holm.
Yeah, and they made a really good point on that episode that Chris is taking this fight on short notice, and she might not make weight or have a full gas tank if she does.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, because the 4-week camp, she turned down a 6-week camp because it was too short a turnaround. So unless she was already getting into shape for a camp, she might blow weight for this, which is going to be interesting because what the fuck does that mean for the belt? It's not for the belt anymore.
They'll just pay Kunitskaya a lot of money, I think, for this.
Well, I mean, they're going to have to for the hospital bills, probably, but it's a bad matchup.
Then they agree too, Edgar versus Ortega should be 5 rounds. I think we all can agree on that. They talked about Edgar having a relentless pace, but Ortega's arguably one of the most savvy on the ground. They said in all of the UFC, they said his technical moves are so slick. They said Edgar should be fine with beating up Ortega from top position, but it's other parts where he might have little trophies on his back.
Yeah, they mentioned Frankie hasn't even gotten put in a submission, any legit submission attempt in like 5 years.
I think that's right, yeah.
Some crazy
so he fought,
time.
BJ probably before?
No, there was somebody after that, and even then it wasn't a deep one.
They think Sean O'Malley will outpace Sukmantat. Which kind of reminds me, no one's really giving Sukmantat a chance, which is totally unfair because I was very impressed with his last fight. But we'll discuss that later.
Sean O'Malley is so hittable.
They said Connor believes Jeremy Stevens when he says Dan Miragliotta poorly explained to him the rules. I'll explain my opinion on that later. They said Jessica Andrade needs to learn to pressure more if she wants to be champion. Lastly, I am not going to talk about Luke Thomas post-fight because he basically talked about... Well, I'll talk about that later when me and you discuss our thoughts on the whole knee controversy because Luke Thomas, I agree with him and I'll explain why. BBC MMA, they talked about parts of Stevens' knee was illegal and I'll go into this again like we just said later. Sean from BBC MMA argues it was a split-second decision and thought it was Emmett's hand was partly off the ground. Like I said, I'll go into this again. He didn't have any problems whatsoever, and he thinks Stevens should not have been disqualified and thought Stevens did nothing wrong because he was listening to what the ref had to tell him. I'll tell you right now, I agree with him, and Luke Thomas basically says the same sentiment. As far as the whole knee controversy, it's a matter of, was it intentional? Possibly, yeah, but the fact that, I'll tell you this right now, I don't think it was a direct hit with the knee. No, fuck.
It was.
It wasn't.
Everyone agrees with that.
Did it graze him?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it did. It also kind of looks like it... I think... okay, when it goes up, it looks like it could miss completely, but his shin definitely does hit him on the way back down.
Right, but that's not part of the strike.
But that's not part of the strike, yeah.
So, we'll talk about this later, but I agree. Although, of course, we're from San Diego, and we both picked Jeremy Stevens.
I know, so it doesn't look that great coming from us. So take it with whatever you want, grain of salt.
Also, I have a fucked up fact about Jeremy Stevens that we'll share later that I sent Chris.
Jeff Nowitzki, also known as the Golden Snitch, was the one who brought down Lance Armstrong. John Jones was a moron, according to BBC MMA, and they said his lawyer was clueless. I wouldn't say clueless, but it was mainly Jones looking oblivious to the whole fact.
Yeah, that's not a good assessment, because that lawyer's really well known and has a pretty legit background. The problem is they had no fucking case.
I think that's what they meant.
A lawyer looks bad when you have no fucking evidence.
I think it was the context a little misconstrued.
Despite Naoki Kawa's fucking storage locker full of tainted supplements, they couldn't find the right one.
Dan Hardy is basically on Team Rogan when he says he doesn't think Jones intentionally took steroids. I don't necessarily want to agree or disagree as of yet, because I haven't really formed my own opinion.
I kind of lean that way.
I lean a little bit. I agree, and this 100% Dan Hardy thinks that John Jones is very careless and dumb in his judgments.
Negligence, for sure.
A lot of negligence. What was funny is they did a Wheel of Fortune spin with the whole sound effects of who is Conor McGregor going to fight next.
Oh, God.
Tony Ferguson.
That's right. They named it something stupid as fuck.
It was goofy as fuck, yeah. Basically, Tony Ferguson came up first, then it was Nate Diaz, and after that it was like Habib, and then GSP, and then they did phone interview replay of Elias Theodoro, talk about he's going to be the ring boy for Victor.
Elias is everywhere this week.
And he's going to show off his nipples and all that shit, and that's what he's saying.
No, he's not.
I don't know, that's what he said. He's going to be shirtless. I don't know.
I doubt he's going to be shirtless.
Who knows?
The Invicta, the Invicta, like, the shit they have Invicta chicks wear, are the Invicta Phoenix girls. Excuse me, they're not ring card girls, they're the Phoenix girls of Invicta. Super classy. Like, they wear, like, fucking 3/4 length fucking tights and, like, a solid... I think people don't know how Invicta works.
Yeah, and then I'll say, lastly, what the fuck is up with Miss Kenzie Dern's accent? Because isn't she a Valley girl? She sounds like she's sort of from the Brazil. After that, how many times did she say you know in her interview? And then after that, they ended the entire show with a very, very cringy clip of Ronda Rousey threatening Triple H, saying like this, best acting, if you ever try to come at me again, I am gonna rip your arm straight out of its socket. And everyone's like, and it literally ended like, I was like, do you literally have like something in your hand that you're reading? Because I can't see what you're doing, but goddamn, that was pretty bad.
I'm sure it sounds worse than it looks.
It sounded worse.
And pro wrestling fans.
But she was like that, I'm gonna rip your arm straight out of its socket. Yeah, like, imagine what Triple H is like. He's probably like, wow, that's really bad acting. So
I know, but
Vince?
I think you have too big a bar for pro wrestling fans' expectations.
Yeah.
Like, they've dealt with some fucking
What I hope for is that nowadays, if you're over the age of 30 or 35 and go to those events, is A, you're with your son or your daughter. Or very
drunk.
Or you're very wasted and did a bet with a friend. Or it's like your nephew or niece. You know what I mean? Like, if it's your family, that's cool. Like, you're the uncle or the aunt. Sure, that's fine. But I would hope you explain to your family member or little niece, nephew, daughter, son.
That you're gay?
Not that.
Oh, that's okay. Possible too. I thought that was.
I'm sure there's plenty of gay people.
Maybe I just misread that turn. Yeah,
I think you did. But you just explained to them, this is not acting, son. This is all fake. Well, no, it is acting, but it's poor acting. This is why Rhonda, they saw her tape in Fast and Furious 6, and they're like, she belongs in the WWE.
This is where This is where bad actors go to work out.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying? Yeah. I'm sure we're not making any friends with all the pro wrestling business. Shouts out to the Laps Fan podcast. Used to be better. And it's all up in that ass. Anyway, yeah, man. So, I actually wanted to get that BBC MMA show episode, but I did not get a chance to.
I was just say, other than that, they had some pretty good points about what their thoughts of like the upcoming card was.
Yeah, I mean, they always do. Dan Hardy does his research and does a lot of tape study. And he's just a smart dude. And John Gooden is good, as his name says. John Gooden also was on... Well, we'll get to it later, because I have a list of stuff. But, since I don't have a can't miss, my new show, I think people that I checked out, that I highly, highly recommend. Basically, this is my can't miss, honestly. this was the best show I listened to all week, was the main event episode, I believe 24, with Jordan Breen. It'll be linked in the description like always. They open with some weird Canadian hip-hop about... what is it called? Northern... Oh, I can't remember the name of it. Some old school Canadian hip-hop shit. And the hosts are Travis Turner and Elias Theodoro. And Jordan Breen is on with them, just hanging out talking bullshit. Travis opens talking about some rapper that was on the intro song or involved in the intro song. I don't know. These are like weird Canadian rappers I've never fucking heard of. Evidently, that dude sold him on Kraft Dinner, which, if you guys don't know, is evidently the fucking super Canadian version of how you say like that Kraft mac and cheese bullshit. But he makes it with red Kool-Aid.
Wait, what?
And
like
the guy
making mac and cheese?
But he puts a red Kool-Aid packet in it, and the guy said it was actually pretty good.
It's so like that's sugary, though. Like, how do you eat
that? That's the first thing I heard in this episode. And then they talked about a lot of weird things people put on mac and cheese. Like, I heard someone say tuna and peas. Fucking just weird Canadian shit.
It doesn't sound disgusting. It just doesn't sound
weird,
good.
right?
It doesn't sound good. The only thing I've put like inside is like I've chopped done hamburger meat,
right? Or
beef,
like bacon or something.
Bacon, yeah. I've done
hot sauce.
I've done chicken with like hot sauce, like hot sauce chicken mac and cheese. That's chill. Like,
but like also, what the fuck? It's just real weird. Which that'll come back around because so it's a lot. This podcast is, if you are Canadian, you're gonna get way more of this podcast than I will. Because there was so many fucking inside Canadian references flying around that I was having a real hard time keeping up.
I'm sure they probably dropped some Trailer Park Boys references.
No, like way deeper reference, like province references of jokes, shit like that, like
you go to
Edmonton and shit like that.
You go to Alberta.
No, I'm not saying like dropping names. I'm saying dropping jokes about provinces that are like, it's very inside Canadian.
It's funny.
At one point, Travis says he was on an edible when he figured out, or when he watched the Jeremy Stevens knee happen. He like walked out of the room because he was really high on an edible, and he went to the other the host, Travis, I think I said that right, walked out of the room when he was super high to get food in the kitchen, walked back in, and he saw the Jeremy Stevens knee replay in slow-mo, but it was like in double slow-mo because he was really fucked up from the edible, and he just watched it, and he was like, wait, why is no one stopping this fight? And after the legal knee, and it just keeps going in slow-mo, and he's like freaking out trying to figure it out. Pretty good. I just thought it was goofy as hell. And then from there, it just turns into a Jordan Breen show episode, basically. They talk about Dana skewering Tyron more than anyone in a long time. Dana withdrawing from the sport. They talk about why the UFC went to Edmonton, because the Endeavor made a deal with the ownership group for the building of I believe it's the Rogers Center. Or one of the Rogers buildings. They have like 14 of them. They're all named. I
know the main ones in Toronto.
There's like the Rogers
Arena. The Blue Jays play.
This one was in Edmonton. It's like there's like the Rogers Arena, the Rogers Center, the Rogers Place. There's like 4 or 5 of them, and they're all named the Rogers something.
Rogers Stadium.
Yeah, maybe something
Rogers
like that.
Convention Center.
Yeah, basically.
Rogers Bowl.
Yeah. The fucking Rogers home.
Rogers Ice Rink.
Yeah, 100%. And then from that, so they did a weird thing in the middle where they cut away from that segment with Breen to cut over to a segment with Vince Mancini from Film Drunk, which is kind of weird. They talked about fighters crossing over into movies and Ronda and WWE. And they cut back to the Breen segment where they talk about raises in pay-per-view prices. And then it just goes full Jordan Breen show. Talk about Endeavor getting played by the Fertittas. Breen, of course, as he's one to do, brings up the history of the Fertittas being involved in the mob in Texas and the shady way Lorenzo got the UFC after being a commissioner. Or, like, essentially the UFC came to the Las Vegas State Athletic Commission.
Wait, you said they were in the mob in Texas or Vegas?
Texas.
Okay.
So his dad was, like, known in the mob in Vegas, or in Texas. They took over casinos in Vegas because, of course, they own the Station Palace casinos in Vegas. And then that's why Lorenzo became the head, is because his dad was known. His dad had stepped down after like being on tape trying to bribe a commissioner or a politician or something.
Typical Italian bullshit.
And Vegas bullshit, yeah, 100%. And they talk about how Lorenzo literally became a commissioner of the UFC because the UFC, back when it was owned by SEG, before Dana and the Fertittas, they went to the Nevada State Athletic Commission and they asked for licensing in the state, and they denied it. So the UFC is like, fuck, well, that drops the price of our product a lot, and we're really having trouble at this point because there's like weird law stuff going on with like sanctioning, and Jersey was coming after him, or Jersey maybe not, but a couple places were coming after him. John McCain was doing the whole cockfighting bullshit.
Oh, yeah. It's
but,
yeah.
So they end up selling the UFC. No, they sell the UFC to?
Oh,
Lorenzo Fertitta, of course. Yeah. And Lorenzo Fertitta was on the board of the Nevada State Athletic Commission, who refused to license the fucking sport. So, yeah, a little sketchy. And then after that, they joke.
He threatened a lot of people's moms.
Yeah. Well, and then after that, there's a lot of jokes about Cyborg actually being the person who runs her Twitter, and how that's clearly not the case. And,
right? Isn't it like her husband?
It's Ray Elby. Yeah. Shouts out to that fucking miserable
her boyfriend.
Miserable dude. He's, to be fair, Ray's always been nice to me. He's just, it's unbearable the way he runs her Twitter. And yeah, Jordan evidently is going to be back on next week on that show too. So
nice.
It's just really good. I highly recommend it. The only other things I wanted to shout out briefly, The Underdogs, episode 4. The Underdogs is Connor Rebush's podcast that he does with Phil McKenzie, who is known as Evil Greg Jackson on Twitter. And they do that show on the Heavy Hands Patreon. So if you're subscribed to the Patreon page for Heavy Hands, I think it's like $3 a month. They do this show. It's their 4th one, and this one is all about foot slow gingers, where they talk about guys like Pat Healy, Jim Miller, Mark Bocek, Ed Herman. It's great. At one point, they make a great joke about Ed Herman being Yakuza after he accidentally cut off his finger in a fucking construction accident. Aaron Says What podcast with Leslie Smith was really good. Leslie Smith comes on and talk about Project Spearhead and fighters being like strippers. Really good. If you guys don't know, Aaron Says What, the host of that show, is also Ally Quinta Realty, the troll Ally Quinta account, which Al is a fan of. Jordan Breen show is really good. Just all over the place talking. It was recorded immediately after the John Jones saga. Actually, you probably heard a clip of this on the intro. Something along the lines of, Malky looked like he was in hell and it looked like his brain was touching the void when they're talking about the John Jones incident that was going on. Fucking real good. And David Bixenspan does call in at the end of that episode and say that Two Scoops is coming back, which is the best news I heard all week. Because Two Scoops was my favorite Patreon, but they have not done an episode since, a year ago, probably. Obviously, Fight Talk 103 with Jimmy Smith was good. This past weekend, Theo Vaughn's podcast, he talked about the Mike Griffin, the Mike Perry, Max Griffin fight. He says, that was a real male fiasco. A lot of phrases like, where was it? Mike Perry tried to pull down the other man's pants at the body ceremony.
He did.
The body ceremony is what he kept calling the weigh-ins. At one point, he says that they give him time between rounds to think about what's occurred.
Sounds like riffraff.
Or to text their friends. Well, he's just so Southern, and I am not good at Southern accents. He says, Mike Perry hit him with that snow glober in the 3rd. Snow glober is when someone hits you and suddenly the weather changes. You don't know what season it is.
That's pretty funny.
It's fucking great. It's like Perry climbed him. He climbed up to the 2nd story of Max Griffin. Just fucking random Theo Von thoughts. It's great. So I recommend that. And the only thing I wanted to shout out is some shows I missed that I wanted to catch. Since I figured it'd be helpful for you guys if I have a list of stuff I never got to for you to check it out. Anything Goes, episode 30 with Stipe, which you talked about. Pitmaster and the Doc had Yancy Medeiros on this week, which seemed dope. Slaphead and Giraffe had John Gooden on, which I really wanted to catch. MMAJunkie 2633 had Jimmy Smith and Mark Henry the day we're recording this on Thursday. There's a MMA Vivisection from the Bloody Elbow guys for Bellator 195 and KSW 42. And then Believe You Me episode 52 with Alan Joban. Were all ones that I wanted to catch but didn't get a chance to. So I think that's it for that segment. Only stuff I wanted to shout out for news, Justin Buchholz left Team Alpha Male.
Yeah, I just want to say this right now. Good for him. I don't know
that was not going well for him, it seemed like.
I'll just say this.
After
he got back from Alaska...
Yeah, it's all been weird,
okay,
right?
Obviously it's hearsay. I don't have evidence of this. I don't know. Based on what I've read online, Uriah Faber did him pretty dirty. He basically had a really comfortable job being the head coach, in my opinion. He was the head coach of Alpha Male.
No, he was 100%. The head coach, and he turned that team around.
He goes to Alaska to fight on his own. I think he has family out there.
It was AFC where he hit that illegal knee.
And basically what happened is he comes back and it's just like someone just telling you, oh, by the way, you're not the coach anymore. Like, How the fuck does that work? Like, is Uriah secretly an asshole in his business dealings? Or
Uriah's a money guy.
He's a money guy. So he's like Dana. He's just basically a tiny Dana without being red. He's a more laid back Dana. But he's similar. I don't get it. Like,
I would say he's more of like a...
It's weird because it
is weird. I don't have a good comparison. It made me feel bad
for Buchholz. Like, he's gone. Good for him.
Buchholz is a great dude, and like whoever picks Buchholz up is going.
How about this? Someone mentioned this on Reddit. How about he go to Dwayne Ludwig's gym? Fuck it.
Or Alpha. Or how about
Alliance?
How about Alliance? That's what I was gonna say. Fucking dude, I bet
Eric Del Fierro would be like, fuck it, why not?
Eric Del Fierro would be like, hey, I like Justin Buchholz. It's always been cool. Like. I'm sure, actually, maybe not. Maybe they'd fucking hate each other. But yeah, I like Justin Buchholz a lot. Yeah, Cruz probably would. Jeremy Stevens would not be happy, I'm sure.
I figured you out, bro.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd get mollywopped a couple times. Yeah, I like Justin Buchholz. Anywhere he turns out, like, even if he went to work with, like, Colin Oyama or one of those guys, like, I think that'd be great. So I'd like to see where he ends up next. And I'm curious to see what happens to Studboy Radio, their podcast.
Yeah.
Because it was just Justin Buchholz most of the time with Studboy. So, like, what does that mean for that show? Because, like, it was literally housed in the Alpha Male gym. So that's going to be weird going forward. Only other thing is we talked about the John Jones CSAC hearing where fucking Malky tried to crawl out of his skin. Oh, and we need to talk briefly about Jeremy Stevens. Well, we'll talk about Jeremy Stevens' knee in the next segment. So, on this next one, you guys can listen to a clip of... What did I say I was going to play a clip of?
I don't even know.
I mentioned it at some point. Fill for me while I look it up.
Well, anyways, look forward to us basically doing a little quick recap of last week's fight card, which is in Orlando, which featured, of course, as we just told you already, Jeremy Stevens versus Josh Emmett. After that, we are going to, in the final third segment, going to do a brief, I don't want to say brief, but we'll do a preview of UFC 222 pay-per-view, which is this Saturday at 7 p.m., which is the main card. You can catch the prelims on Fight Pass, and then the main prelims on Fox Sports 1. I don't think it's FX. I think it's Fox Sports 1.
I believe so.
The main I will do my best to catch most of the fights. I do work on Saturday. I don't know if I'll catch Fight Pass, but we'll see.
For sure. Yeah, so I'm not seeing where Jordan... We'll play Jordan Breen. Wait, no, we did that for the intro. We will play... Oh, God, I should not be figuring this out live. You know what? Fuck it. We'll play some Theo Vaughn talking about Mike Perry snow globing a motherfucker. He's snow globing, boys.
You know, you start to feel like Griffin has this one in the bag at the start of the third round. They're both winded. But then out of nowhere, Perry hits him with that snow glober. And that snow glober, that's when somebody hits you and suddenly the weather changes and you don't know what season it is for a second. He just hit him with that right, and suddenly it was a little bit of, it was a 30% chance of freaking of cold dandruff, and it might have been Christmas Eve for Max Griffin. You don't know, for just a, you're like, whoa. But it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that heavy. It was just a Halloween hit. It was just a little bit of rain and some Halloween, but he still hit him with that snow glober. And that's Mike Perry. He's just those matches. You just don't know when he's going to strike or how quick it's going to end. And at this point, as the second half of this third round goes on, I'm like, damn, this thing is a war. This thing is a war. Perry climbs up him. He climbed up to the second story of Max Griffin. He tried to come in through the roof. He trying to come in through the roof of that man.
All right, we are back.
Yeah, we are.
Go ahead and recap last week's card, which I mentioned before. UFC Orlando, Emmett versus Stevens, or Steven versus Emmett. Can't remember what they call it. Either way.
Emmett versus Stevens, I believe.
Yeah, Steven versus Emmett does sound not as smooth, I guess. Or
I think they do it by the higher ranked person, which doesn't make sense.
I was going to say, I never actually asked myself that, but I know the blue corner, red corner. Red corner is always a higher rated guy. I know that. You know what I mean? Like the red corner guy. But as far as like,
I believe the first named fighter is generally the higher. Like it's Cyborg versus Kunitskaya this weekend, for example.
Like, because I know DC,
Champ is always
like
first.
DC versus Stipe is Cormier versus Miocic, because Miocic is the heavyweight guy, so they go the higher. I don't know, but see, I don't know how that works.
That one might be Miocic versus Cormier.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah. See what I mean? Now I always confuse myself. Anyways, little disclaimer here. I watched all the fights last week except for the Fight Pass because I was at work and I can't be on my phone at work.
Understandably.
As much as I'd want to do that. Well, I don't know, not really. But
actually, that's not true. During these fights, you weren't.
Oh, that's right. We were at the baby shower.
We were both at the same place. Yeah.
Oh, did I tell you, by the way, what happened after the baby shower? I ended up hanging out with Trevor, Nick, and Kelly, a bunch of our friends.
Got hammered and went to a bar. Got kicked out for bringing beers in.
Didn't get kicked out. One bar though that happened. It was it was called a Reunion Bar. Was it this bar or the other bar? No, it wasn't. See, it wasn't this bar. It was Triple Crown.
Yeah.
In North Park. Apparently,
North
me
Park.
and Trevor got hammered and we started tackling each other and putting each other in guillotines and chokeholds. Apparently, I put Trevor in a guillotine, according to Nick, and then he slammed me on my back because Trevor's bigger than me.
Yeah,
and
way
then
bigger.
Put me in a rear naked choke. I remember that though. Someone's choking me the fuck out. And I guess I punched Trevor pretty hard, or so I don't know. We were just fighting each other, not like for seriously. We were play fighting, and I still have a really big black and blue bruise on my arm right here. It's pretty great. And then I remember after that, Trevor and Nick were play fighting, and some dumbass.
That's way more dangerous because they were
slap
big dudes.
boxing. They were slap boxing, and Trevor got slapped so hard he said the inside of his mouth was bleeding.
Yeah, no, that doesn't doubt me. Nick is a big dude.
Yeah, but I remember some idiot was like, "Bro, it's a scrap." And some guy like pulled out his phone and they started laughing. And fun time.
Checks out. Hey, you guys, this is why I leave early on. This was after a baby. This is how they party after a baby.
The fact that Nick told me I was able to full on take Trevor to the ground surprised me. So I don't know.
For sure.
That's hilarious, actually.
Yeah. No. But maybe it was intentional. Who knows? That dude's got.
Maybe he wanted me in his guard.
Yeah. That dude's got a decent ground game. Surprisingly, I remember watching him try to throw up arm bars on dudes in the middle of his garage or in the middle of his driveway in 9th grade. So.
Anyways, enough about me being shitty fighter when I'm drunk, because I'm not even a good fighter in general. We'll go ahead and discuss the first couple fights, which I missed.
Yeah, Manny Bermudez got that sub over Albert Morales, which we called for sure. Manny Bermudez has just been on a crazy run, and basically Morales gets dragged into a grappling exchange pretty early on. I give the first round 10-9 Bermudez off just volume and the severity of the sub attempts. And then Morales came out landing a lot on the feet early in the second. But eventually gets caught in a crazy tight guillotine from a bit. I believe it was an over-under clinch that came off of a stuffed takedown attempt. So the guy, essentially Bermudez, I believe, shot a takedown, which was a really weak takedown attempt just to get an over-under, and then immediately locked up the clinch, sat back on a guillotine into guard, and was able to finish it. Super impressive. And
So
that dude is
that was his
scrappy as
debut.
hell.
That was his debut, I believe.
Yeah, he's scrappy as hell, and Albert Morales looked good, but it was just a really, really scrappy fight. Alex Perez, speaking of scrappy, took on
Eric Shelton.
Eric Shelton,
who we both picked.
I knew this one was going to be close, though. It was going to be a decision. It was going to be close. And Alex Perez definitely took it, in my opinion.
So then I guess it didn't turn out to be close, per se?
No, it was still pretty close, but Alex Perez
It was competitive then, right? But
Yeah.
he kind of just won those rounds.
He outworked him consistently. I gave the first round 10-9 Perez, just off landing big shots late and working well from top control. Perez just kept winning like scrappy grappling exchanges and kept getting dominant top control and takedowns against the fence specifically. I gave the second round 10-9 Perez, and I gave the third round, I gave 30-27 Perez. He kept getting top control, kept landing, and the third, I just think he took it overall. Hani Yahya took on Russell Doan in a super impressive performance from Hani Yahya.
Yeah, I remember I went with this guy based on his veteran. Well, Russell Doan's a vet too. I think I went off this based on Yahya had a bunch of submission victories beforehand, as far as his recent.
Oh yeah, he's a nasty submission grappler, and he showed it in this fight.
So yeah, it looks like according to the stoppage, he got that arm triangle choke about halfway through the third round. Round.
Yeah, he literally hit a high cross to half guard about 10 seconds into this fight. Sat on top for the entire first round, pretty much. He had a really weird neck crank, which, trying to remember who was talking about it. Somebody was talking about it this week. I wish I could remember who was breaking this down. One of the podcasts we mentioned. One of the ones that would have had a jiu-jitsu, like a high-level jiu-jitsu player on it. Anyway, he had a really weird neck crank from, where was it? It's almost like a double Nelson from half guard. So it's really weird. I almost want to say TJ Santos talked about it with somebody, but I don't remember. Anyway, interesting first round. Even with that, Hani's dominating, but he does get stood up at one point for throwing 2 knees to the spine.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, which is not a good look. But I did give that round 10-9 Yahya. I would have given it 10-8 if he landed any bigger ground and pound, just because he was literally on top of Russell Doan the entire time, but wasn't able to get a lot of damage off. And then round 2, I had 10-9 Yahya. Essentially, Ronnie Yahya hits another high cross 25 seconds in, works to Doan's back, and sits on Doan's back for the entire round. At the very, very end of the round, Doan does turn and spike Hani Yahya onto his head from his back, while being controlled from his back, but doesn't really do much. And then let's see, Doan did throw a body kick in the last round, ended up in a scramble, and 20 seconds later, I should say, he throws a body kick, scrambles, ends up on top, and then about 20 seconds later, Yahya hits a half guard sweep and immediately grabs the head and arm, which is super, super tight, and finishes it out. Fun fight, though, but an impressive performance from Hani Yahya, especially when you find out his mother died 10 days earlier.
Oh, man.
Which is pretty crazy, so good win for that dude, and he definitely needed it. And good performance from Russell Doan for being able to hang in as long as he did, but man, Hani Yahya looked great in that fight. And speaking of looking great, smiling Sam Alvey, holy shit. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't seen the Well, actually, wait. Nope, I did see the GIF on Reddit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because holy shit, it's...
Talk about stiff as a board.
Dude, Prochnio had the exact opposite expression on his face that Sam Alvey did. You know, Sam Alvey's always grinning and looking all happy. Prochnio just looks angry as fuck to be there. And then they just get into exchanges, and Sam at one point catches a spinning back kick and hits a takedown off of it, kind of, but essentially just ends up grabbing a guillotine and ends up with his back against the cage, like Alpha Scramble, and then is happy to sit in with a head and arm guillotine in with his back against the cage for like 2 minutes, maybe more.
Like they didn't separate.
It's just Sam being Sam and having his back put against the cage and just kind of sitting there. And then all of a sudden he decides he's kind of done with that. And then Prachnio at that point is looking real freaked out. Like his eyes I wrote down Prachnio's eyes are tweaker wide.
Ooh. Like
just crazy to the point where the broadcasters even mentioned it. They're like, holy shit. His eyes are looking real wide open in a way that is not comforting. And then Prachnio almost gets clipped by a high kick, which, by the way, Sam Alvey almost clipping dudes with high kicks. And then eventually, Prachnio just starts running forward, throwing bombs. Sam did land some really, really solid low leg kicks, like calf kicks. And that just kind of got Prachnio to start charging him. And as Prachnio comes in, Sam clips him with the lead hook, drops him once, and then Prachnio just freaks out and starts running in again a minute later, 30 seconds later, and gets flatlined with a right hand in a nasty accordion kind of way. And just literally starts his dude.
Oh, I think I remember that he just falls down like.
Well, he just ran straight in on it, and Sam just launched a check right hook on him, and great finish. And then Sam yells to the crowd, well, let me get this quote right. Hell yeah, Orlando! Thanks for having me. Your oranges are fantastic.
I saw the interview.
It's the fucking best.
Yeah.
Fucking Sam Alvey's the coolest.
This next fight is this one I did catch. Alan Jouban, Mr. Versace.
Fantastic
versus his 10th Planet teammate, Ben Saunders. A lot of emotions running into this fight.
Yeah.
I love this fight a lot. A lot of clinch work.
Bad sound matchup for Ben Saunders.
A lot of clinch work from what I remember.
Yep.
Alan Jouban did really well pressuring him against the cage and kind of negating the underhooks from Saunders and really working those elbows, man. Jesus Christ. Just the forearms and the elbows.
Dude, those low
really
leg...
getting him in the clinch. And
those low leg kicks and the lead hooks were money
just
every
keeping
time.
Saunders basically not able to even really stand on his own 2 feet. And, and I remember he caught him with those elbows again and again and again in a clinch. And then after that, I think it was was it a left hook or a straight? I think it was that straight left. Yeah, once Saunders turned into it.
Oh, yes. It was a left cross. It's been moved in and off an inside kick.
Yeah.
He just went out cold. He got crow-copped with the leg bend and everything. It was bad, man. Ben stepped right into it off of an inside leg.
Yeah, and it was an emotional fight. Alan Jouban jumped on the cage. He mentioned his 5-year-old son he's like, I love you, Cage, the name of his son. Yeah. It was a good moment, for Alan Jouban.
Well, I thought you meant because after he jumped on the cage, he's like, I love you, Cage.
I know, right? His son, coincidentally, his name is Cage.
Yeah.
But that makes sense, too. Like, he's an MMA fighter. I was like, what do we name his son?
Also a big Mortal Kombat fan.
Yeah, or Nick Cage fan. Or Luke Cage fan. Lots of Cage.
Those. Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot
all
of
the
cages.
nerdy fighting shit.
Yeah, a lot of cages. But good performance by Alan Jouban. I think after
super
that,
impressive.
I think it's smart the way they keep. I think they should do the right thing as far as who they give him next in matchmaking. Just kind of gradually climb him up the ladder again a little bit,
I'd have to take a look at the rankings in front of me, but I would like to see him
against borderline top 15, maybe top 15.
Yeah, like maybe even like a Max Griffin or like
interesting fight.
Like one of those kinds of guys, like somewhere. I don't want to see him with a huge jump up in competition after that, but I do think it's a big win for him, and rough loss for Ben Saunders for sure. Up next, our girl, the homie, Angie Hill.
Yep,
big fan.
Angie Hill, speaking of clinch work and Muay Thai.
And landing the only shots in this fight.
Yeah.
Marina Kiai Moroz.
I can't really recall Marina Moroz really throwing any significant blows.
So, I am forever no longer going to confuse Marina Moroz and Marion Renault thanks to this card. Because Marina Moroz did what I always think Marion Renault did against Holly Holm. Where she stands on the outside and throws at air and Kiai's the entire time.
Yep.
And Marion Renault did none of that in the Sarah McMahon fight.
Marion Renault finally showed why she's a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, right?
And is comfortable off her back against
well, in the second round she did. In the first round she got dominated.
It was bad. But you know what I mean. Like, she shows she didn't panic.
Yeah, but Marina Moroz did exactly what I thought Marina Moroz was going to do, which was key eye at the air and throw a lot of straight nothings. And Angie Hill just kept banging on her with a giant right hand and with, especially in the clinch.
She was catching her back.
Catching her in the clinch and banging knees to the body.
Yep, those Muay Thai knees, just the sternum to the ribs, everything was just working really well for her.
Yeah,
really
super impressive.
Moroz, and that was an all-around impressive victory. And,
I had it 30-27 Angie. Of course, I'm biased. I just didn't think...
believe I scored it that way as well. I think the only really close round Moroz had is maybe in the second round. I think right in the beginning.
Or it was the second or the third. I know it was one of the later ones. Because the first round she did fucking nothing.
She was basically backpedaling.
Yeah, first round I had easy for Angie. Second, I had for Angie just off landing a little bit more significant strikes, but a lot closer. And then, third I had for Angie easy as well.
So then, as we just kind of alluded to this, discuss a little bit, Marion Renault, the high school teacher, versus Olympic medalist Sarah McMahon. This is weird. Sarah McMahon looked fantastic in the first round.
I officially can't pick Sarah McMahon anymore.
I feel bad for Sarah McMahon. She has so much talent. But she just had a really string of just a rough patch. I'm not going to call it bad luck. It's just a rough skid.
Not even it's a rough skid in the second round. She does great in the first round.
Remember we talked about it. It was her previous fight before this. She was winning the fight.
Same thing.
And she basically grabs, defeat out of the jaws of victory.
Exactly. Well, this one was the exact same thing. She literally
she's winning the fight.
Got put in a triangle and
she
never
was
reacted.
The fight.
Like, she got slapped. You see Marion Renault set up the triangle. You see her start to latch the triangle down. You see her actually sink the triangle. None of which Sarah McMahon addresses at all. And not even a little bit. It's so weird. Because in the first round, she was beating the shit out of Marion Renault. Like, that first round, she got her down and just beat the shit out of her for most of it, right?
Yeah, from what I can recall.
Yeah, I mean, she got to side control and finishes round one in the crucifix, throwing solid punches. And then, Renault did... Oh, I should say, Renault did drop Sarah with a huge right at one point.
Yeah, all I can say is good finish by Renault. Great victory for her.
Big win.
Basically the biggest in her career, because I think
for sure.
McMahon was ranked fucking top 10, I think. Something...
McMahon, easy. She's probably like
she was
6 or 7, something like that.
Next up, I don't know why the fuck. Oh, by the way, I actually forgot about the picks. Me and Pulver, we both picked Joban. We both picked Angie Hill. I picked a draw for the McMahon-Renault fight.
To be fair,
you picked McMahon.
That wasn't the worst call, because if that went to a third round, that could have been pretty close to a draw.
Up next, though, I don't know why I picked Henry Burrell, because he was competitive. As far as he wasn't competitive, in the fact that he
what
had a
year
chance
was he
to win
competitive in, Chris?
His fact is he was going to win the fight. He was competitive, I'd say, in the first round.
Yeah, first round he looked okay.
That's what because when I was watching, I'm like, oh, am I going to get this right?
Yeah, and first round he had a super okay performance. He gassed and panicked more than anything.
That's his issue now, because I can still see flashes of his skill, his talent. He's still very, very skilled fighter. It's just I think he's kind of shook, I guess, from the TJ Dillashaw experience.
Well,
not even that. I guess it's just the mileage.
I think it's just the mileage.
It's just he's had 50
so
fights.
many wars
This dude
back
has
to back.
50 fights.
And that weight cut is not helping him. I mean, he did land.
I think he should have stayed at featherweight.
Yeah, he did land.
In my opinion,
he did land some real big. Those dudes are real big for him now.
Hey, to be fair, dude, and it's still he survived Jeremy Stevens.
That's a good point.
He took a Jeremy Stevens bomb to the chin and fucking just lived.
Yeah, but he can't do that again.
Oh, he can't do it again. But I'm just saying, God.
I think that was part of the reason why he looks the way he does nowadays.
That's why his coach was like, "Yeah, you can't do that again."
Yeah. I mean, Brow did land some huge calf kicks early in the first round. And Brian... sorry, I said Brow, yeah. And Brian pressured early with a lot of stance switching. I gave the first round to Kelleher, just basically off cage control and the knockdown at the end.
30-27 or 29-28?
I scored at 30-26.
30-26, yeah. I did.
I gave a 10-8 in the
I think
third.
I did just 30-27.
I gave 10-8 in the third.
But I could see that. I could no, especially the end of that fight. Especially the end of that fight, right when the horn rang.
Yep. It was bad. The amount of damage Brow took in that third round, since that fight was not stopped, I gave it a 30-26. Yeah. I mean that the first round was competitive for sure, but I had Kelleher all the way through.
Yeah, good performance by Brian Boom Kelleher. This next fight, me and you were on the hype train. Well, not the hype train.
But
okay, we both did acknowledge that this was a dangerous matchup for Mike Perry.
Well, and I did even say last week everyone's sleeping on Max Griffin, which
you did
Jeff Sherwood is the real person who should get credit
What
for
I
that.
didn't realize is how fluid Max Griffin's speed and head movement was as far as being able to transition to the outside.
See, I did. I thought he'd just get hit in the head.
But then, to be fair, I had only watched him once when he fought Colby Covington before.
That's a bad matchup to watch.
Before I even knew who both of them were, because the only thing I remember about that fight is Colby Covington literally bring him to the mat every 5 seconds.
Yep.
Which, I mean, I would do the same if I had that.
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with a Mike Perry.
It has nothing to do with Mike Perry. Either way, this is a very entertaining fight. I think I almost narrowly gave the third round. I mean, don't get me wrong, I could see a 30-27 to favor Griffin, but Perry did finish very, very strong, in my opinion, the third and final round. Because he was fighting desperately. He landed a lot of significant strikes. He actually kind of had Griffin not rocked, but he caught him pretty clean at the end.
He was so tired.
But it was just a desperation. Either way, Mike Perry needs to kind of touch up a little bit on his.
He needs time off, is what he needs.
Yeah, he needs time off to improve. Some work. He has flashes of very good athleticism. Yeah. This is the thing. If he was at, say, ATT, which I saw a rumor that they might bring him over there because Dean Thomas likes him, evidently.
Dean Thomas is the dude he needs to work with.
If he
100%.
went to ATT and this dude's still only 26, just turned 26, man, this dude could be a real fucking killer.
Dean Thomas would fucking make a murderer out of Mike. That is exactly the dude Dean Thomas is.
I'll say this now. It was a good fight. Mike Perry is hard to knock out. I don't know if he'll ever be knocked out. Max Griffin, good on him. Great performance.
Yeah, I had this
fast, was fluid, had good solid strikes, everything. He's a long fighter. He can go inside if he wants to. He got a couple takedowns. He had a knockdown.
Yeah, I had this fight 30-26 for Griffin.
30-26.
Yeah, just Mike kept walking forward, winging overhands and getting clipped with strikes and leg kicks the entire first round. It is easy first round for Griffin. The only time Mike even had any success was on the ground in the last 30 seconds. He did nothing with it. The second round, I gave an easy 10-8 off of dropping Perry and flooring.
You know what they should do? Max Griffin versus Curtis Melender. Why not? Just throw him in there with someone who just could have went off Perry.
Yeah, something like that.
I know Melender will have a decent size advantage, but Griffin seems pretty fucking quick.
Yeah, like that, or like I like a Joe Band versus Griffin. That seems like kind of a big step up for Griffin, though. Like, I need to see the rankings and, like, where everybody sits.
I just say Melender because it's his debut. And
yeah.
He already looks like he's...
That's a tough fight for both dudes, though, because they're style matchups. Like, I feel like you're probably killing
they
off
both kind of count.
With that.
Yeah, you can't really do it. Yeah.
But maybe you give him, like, I don't know. I need to look at the rankings, but impressive win from both dudes. Ilir Latifi...
By the way, I actually don't even remember why I chose Latifi, but I guess I'm glad I did.
Dude... Right move.
Oh, and you know
you chose him in this, but not in fantasy.
Yeah, remember I got rid of him in fantasy when Torres was like, oh wait, wrong move. I texted you. Remember I was like, dude, why did I get rid of Latifi? I get it though, because OSP was favored, I believe. Sorry, OSP was favored, I think.
And that was that's a fight that I believe got rescheduled a couple times.
Yeah.
Because I believe OSP was originally supposed to fight somebody else.
And I think stylistically, I liked OSP because he's a longer, way taller fighter. He has decent takedown defense, and didn't work out this fight.
No. OSP is a weird character in the sport. I got that one wrong. I had OSP. I thought OSP wouldn't get overhanded and then guillotined.
Standing guillotine.
Good God, did he ever. That shit was so fucking devastating.
This reminds me of what Luke Thomas was talking about. What's next for 205 as far as the weight division goes? Ilir Latifi is not going to fight his teammate Alexander Gustafsson. I don't think he's gonna fight. No, he's not.
I want to see Glover.
And he's not gonna fight his teammate Jimmy Manuwa.
I want to see Glover.
Sacktown represent, because Jimmy Manuwa fights at All Stars 2 in Sweden. So that's like a little trifecta, which there's 3 of the best motherfucking light heavyweights, but not gonna fight each other, so you can't really do shit there. So that's a problem. Oh, speaking of Glover Teixeira, I just saw he's gonna be fighting Volkan Oezdemir, evidently at 224. So that's
a great
happening.
fight.
It's a great fight.
They're both the Glovers.
I was gonna say this. It's a great fight, but if Volkan has Rumble's power, I don't like that for Glover.
Right, but Glover also has Rumble's power.
Yeah. So
people sleep on how hard Glover hits.
Yeah.
Just because he's gotten like crushed by a couple absolute monsters.
That was like an in the moment kind of thing too when he got caught.
Well, but Glover does have a tendency to go to the clinch, which could play interesting too. So I think that's a crazy fight.
So we'll see. 205 division's
like,
a mess.
Yeah, maybe Ilir versus Volkan.
Oh, but they're already doing Volkan Glover. Unless they wait it out. This is the thing. All I read today is Alexander Gustafsson said, I will move up to heavyweight before I ever fight Ilir or Jimmy. He said, the UFC wants me to fight one of those, I will officially move up to heavyweight. Which, have fun with that. Not saying, okay, don't get me wrong. I think Gus can compete in heavyweight a little bit. I don't know how heavy he'd be.
I think he can fuck up anybody outside of the top
right
5.
Now. Gus definitely has some of the best boxing, I think, in all of the UFC. This dude is very fucking talented in striking.
I figured it out.
Look what he did to Roy to Jones. Excuse me. Look what he did to Negligent Jones. That's my new nickname.
I figured out the fight. Ilir versus Shogun. Boom.
Oh, yeah. And that's a good point, too, because I can't remember.
Shogun's on a 3-fight win streak.
Yep, there you go.
Crazy.
Yeah, just do that. As far as Gus goes, heal up, please. I mean, if it's me, if you're asking me what should happen with Gus, give him the Cormier title fight after Stipe. I don't know. I think Gus deserves it.
I don't think Cormier's coming back to 205.
But yeah, no. Even if he loses to Stipe,
which
right?
Means,
if he loses to Stipe,
which means give Gus the 205 title fight against whoever.
It's so scary, dude. It's like what you
Rumble Johnson again, maybe.
Would they have to fight?
Maybe they bring Rumble back.
Honestly, at this point, like, I'm sorry, you have to fight your teammate. Like, you want the belt. Like, it's just one of those where you just would have to fucking do it.
No, there's probably somebody else in the top 5 that's like.
Fucking Dominic Reyes, throw him in there.
No,
I'm kidding.
I said top 5.
I'm kidding.
Not bottom 5.
You see what I'm talking about, though?
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Tyson Pedro, bro. Let's go.
Oh god. Yeah, the guy fucking Ilir already beat. Anyway, we'll keep moving on, but dude, goddamn, that guillotine was impressive, and especially after clobbering LSP.
Speaking of impressive strength,
dude,
not named Ilir Latifi, how about Jessica Andrade?
This was the most confident pick I had all weekend, and the only way it could have looked better is if she smashed her more, which I didn't want because I like Tisha Torres.
By the way, shouts out to Tisha Torres for putting on a good fight.
Craziest.
Dude,
number 1, crazy chin. Number 2, yeah, she did have some big moments in that fight. And number 3, just fucking tough as nails. Like, you could tell she trains with Rocky Pennington because she dates Rocky Pennington because she, despite getting dumped and tossed around at every wrestling exchange ever, she still hung the fuck in there.
She had that body triangle, Jessica's like, nope, and just fucking slams her. Yeah.
Like, Jessica Andrade is a fucking monster in that division.
Shouts out to her indigenous, like, headdress. That shit was,
questionable, but also cool.
It's probably an indigenous Brazilian thing. I get it, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead.
Or not. I mean, guess what? I really don't fucking know. But I'm just throwing spitballs. I have no fucking clue.
And that's why I'm not gonna throw any shade on it either. Because
I'm not throwing shade on it.
People who don't know about New Orleans culture would be like, "Oh, why is this random fucking black dude wearing an Indian headdress? That's disrespectful."
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But everyone's got their own niche. But I thought it looked cool. I was like, fuck yeah, I like when people wear hats.
Well, and that's her thing too.
When Habib wears hats, cool. Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, his the
sheepskin hat. Right?
Yeah,
or not sheepskin hat.
I forget what it's called.
It's a warrior hat from Dagestan, but I think it's made of sheepskin.
Yeah, it's I know.
It's a Dagestani warrior hat. That's all I know.
Keep on calling it a poofta, but that's definitely
wrong. There's a name for it. It's like a papushka or something.
Yeah,
like that.
something like
Because
that.
I know Joe has one. I think Joe says he still has one.
Yeah, Habib gave him one. Babushka, I think is what it is. Something like that. Anyway, And then, so the main event.
So let's go ahead. I'll give my thoughts real quick.
First off, first round.
First round.
First round was really competitive.
So, first round.
Jeremy landed a big hook early and kept was pointing to the ground, saying "stand and bang" at Emmett. There was a solid dick kick by Emmett.
There was,
which people are not giving enough credit to. A lot of feints and pressure from Stevens too, which I think was a big.
I'll say this real quick: the feints were solid. This is the thing. This is an Alliance Team Alpha Male rivalry again, and I'll say this: you can tell
super biased. We're super biased.
No, listen to me right now. Stevens is Alliance. You could tell from his feints and just the pressure he had just against the cage. But you could tell Emmett, and I'm gonna say this right now. This could piss off a lot of Alpha Male fans. You notice how his movement was like this, his head off the center line? He had very good head movement.
Yeah,
like
describe what you're doing.
Yeah. Who was doing this with their shoulders? They're rolling their right shoulders, they're alternating left and right. Oh, how about TJ Dillashaw? So guess what Team Alpha Male's still doing? Yeah. The whole bang Ludwig. Yeah. Guess who I thought of when I saw Emmett going like this? Oh, guess who fights like that? TJ fucking Dillashaw. So guess what?
It's like
Team
that,
Alpha
but less tied together and more with Uriah Faber.
But I literally was thinking Dwayne Ludwig when I was watching Emmett move around. He had great head movement, great off the center line.
Less footwork though, and
less footwork and more with the shoulders and the feints.
Like less head movement too.
But credit to Josh Emmett, he looked great out there in the beginning.
Yeah,
he dropped Stevens when Stevens went with that killer uppercut that he actually murdered RDA with back in the day. It didn't connect him. It hit Emmett's left forearm, and Emmett was able to connect with that counter right.
It was like a shovel. Flush, it was like a shovel uppercut right that he hit him with, and came down and started banging him with elbows to finish the round. Close round too. Man, I wrote down that I had it at 10-9 Stevens. I probably could have given it to Emmett for the knockdown.
You can almost even give it a draw because then the Stevens kind of.
Well, the knockdown is like because Stevens won that round apart from the knockdown.
Yeah.
And, like, Stevens recovered real well from the knockdown. So it's, like, one of those things where, like...
Oh, yeah, he got up immediately.
It's like what do you...
Like, he was hurt, but he wasn't hurt.
Well, he got banged with a couple elbows, but, yeah, immediately popped back up. So it's like, what is that? It's a tough round to score, for sure. And then in the second round, Jeremy Stevens essentially looked super sharp.
Oh, dude, he puts those combos, the ending hooks, so fucking well together. Clipped Emmett right on the chin, dropped him. As far as the knee thing, one thing, I'd say the most egregious thing I saw was just that illegal elbow to the back of the head. I don't think that was intentional. Just more or less, I need to finish this guy, kind of heat of the moment thing.
Yeah.
One thing I'll say about the knee real quick, I think it was a graze. It wasn't full contact.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Ariel Hawani. I disagree with you.
Well, so Ariel's going by the definition of the rule that if it touches the fighter. So here's what I want to say is, remember the UFC New York card where I want to say it was Curtis Blades got a win even though it was a foul in the finish?
No, that was Walt Harris.
Walt Harris, thank you.
And that was in New York. That was just like 6 months ago, actually.
I think it was in New York.
No, it wasn't that. Oh, well, New
Different
York
part
last
of
year.
New York.
New York last year?
I meant New York State Athletic Commission.
Sorry,
yes.
I thought you meant
Yes.
like 205.
No. I mean New York State Athletic Commission.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Because
I think
what
it was
happened
in Albany
was
or some shit.
Yeah. It was like there was a foul in the finish with an eye poke, but it didn't actually affect the finish of the fight. So everyone keeps saying like, oh, it's the automatic DQ if they stop the fight. Like, if Dan Miragliotta flags the fight as we need to take a break because you need a dude on the ground, and then Josh Emmett can't continue, that's an automatic DQ. That's not the case because there's precedence for Walt Harris getting the finish because the foul didn't lead to the fight-ending sequence.
Yeah.
Which I would argue, and most people I feel like have, that it didn't in this case.
And I'll say in this case, too, I do believe Stevens... Objectively, I believe that Stevens did honestly hear from Dan Miragliotta what the rules were.
Yeah.
There's a bit... It's on it. Like, Ariel explained it. A lot of people explained it. Lou Tom explained it. There's a big misconception and misinterpretation of the rules as far as knees down, hands down. I watched that fucking at least 10 to 15 times when Emmett
100% down.
By the way, and I say this right now, he didn't get hit square on in the head. He barely got grazed. I'll tell you this right now. My honest opinion, when the knee went up, it didn't hit him.
No, it's on the way back down.
It's on the way back down it hits him. It doesn't even hit him going up. It doesn't hit him going up. By the way, and the reason why he threw that strike, Emmett, if you look at his left fingers, it looks like it could be off the ground. I can't see because I'm not there.
Doesn't matter.
But it doesn't matter.
Down.
I know, the knee's down. But do you see why? That's why Stevens would think, okay, his hand's up. See, that's the whole point. Do you blame the ref? Do you blame the fighter? I don't think you should really blame the fighter if he doesn't generally know the rule. Do I know that? No, only he knows that. You know what I mean? He should know better. Yes, that's evident.
It's the entire rule system.
But it's the rule system is really what's at fault here. Do I think there should be a no contest? No. Can it be a no contest? Yeah.
It
That's up
shouldn't
to
be,
that
though.
fight. It should be. No.
It didn't affect the outcome of the fight.
No. If it was a clear on fucking knee to the forehead and like you see
then
it, fuck yeah, of course.
No.
But no, I think it missed going up because that's a DC
like,
stick too.
for example,
yeah.
There's a certain fight between Jeremy Stevens and
Frankie Edgar.
Frankie
where
Edgar.
That one did fucking hit him in the goddamn
That one was
forehead.
so fucking blatant. I found this and I sent it to Chris. I like Jeremy Stevens. I didn't want to put this out on Twitter. I did put it on the MMA community forums, but that's like a small group of people who
Did someone say what kind of potato you were cooking when you sent it?
No, because oh, that's right. The video I sent you is the worst quality. I don't know why that happened.
I don't know. It is weird.
No, but I made a GIF and I posted that on the MMA community, and man, so in UFC 205, Jeremy Stevens hits a left high kick on Frankie that lands, and as Frankie drops, he sprints forward and blasts a right knee right into Frankie's head as he's down on both knees with both hands on the ground.
Yeah, that wasn't a great.
that was the
a
worst.
full-on illegal knee to the dome.
Right, but Frankie's a goddamn monster, so it didn't even affect him, and he still ended up on top in
and still won the fight. And won the fight.
And won the fight.
Yeah.
But, like, what's crazy is I never heard anyone mention that, despite going back and watching these fights. In the fucking promo package, they played the clip of Frankie Edgar getting kneed in the fucking face by Jeremy Stevens on the ground. That's why I was like, whoa, what the fuck?
A little foreshadowing.
Yeah, I was like, I saw that, I was like, oh no. So I went and pulled that clip, but it's bad.
So we mentioned it before. I talked to you about it. Who's next for Stevens? I mean, in my opinion, you just do the loser of Edgar Ortega.
Yeah.
Or someone said Aldo. I think it was Thomas.
Aldo. I think it's Aldo.
Aldo, yeah. Who
That's
do you
the
like
fight.
in that fight? I'd probably say Aldo. I don't know, though.
That's such
Stevens
a tough fight
is tough,
to pick.
son of a bitch.
Because especially since he hits so hard, like,
dude, he could do at this point.
if Aldo,
dude, legit, he could knock Aldo the fuck out.
he could, but Aldo's so crafty on the feet.
He's so technical.
That, like, man, you know, here's how I answered that. If this is a 5-round fight, Jeremy Stevens wins. If it's a main event of a fight pass card or something, I think you give it to Jeremy. In a 3-round fight, oh, that's close, man.
Too much volume by Aldo.
Well, and even if Jeremy Stevens has a good moment, I don't think he wins 2 out of 3 rounds. I think he knocks Aldo down and swarms. But if he doesn't get that finish, that's a draw.
You know what's crazy, dude? I saw he has 19 knockdowns.
It's a crazy amount. And a lot of those
hits. He is.
A lot of those are 155.
He is the hardest hitting 145er, bar none.
And a lot of those were 155 too. A lot of those knockdowns. It's crazy. He's a wild man for sure.
Fuck, I'd almost want to see him, even though I don't know if it'd be in his favor against Connor. I think because Connor's so adept at striking, it wouldn't be a good matchup at all.
No, but I want to see it.
But because Connor hits so fucking hard too.
And also, Jeremy Stevens can wrestle more than he puts on, and
he's from Iowa.
Everyone knows.
Yeah.
You know how to beat Conor McGregor? Gas him.
73.
Yeah.
As, Mark Henry kept yelling at Eddie and to no avail. But Eddie looks great lately, so.
Yeah. Dude, that fucking Gaethje fight. Ugh.
And shouts out to Gaethje, too, fighting next month. That should be a
that'll be so dope. I love that matchup. Anyway, we'll wrap this segment here. But awesome fucking card. Everyone who said this card was going to be terrible, what the fuck kind of tape study have you done?
Well, they're just casuals, man. Whatever you want to call it.
If you go down into the there you go. But yeah, I'm amazed at the amount of people who last week were saying the Orlando card was terrible, and this week are saying the 222 card is okay. Because I have the exact opposite feelings about this. I feel like last weekend's card I was way more excited for. Apart from Stevens versus... not Stevens. Apart from Frankie versus Ortega, I really... there's a couple fights I kind of care about, but, just kind of like a fight pass card for most of this 222. compared to that last weekend where it's like Jeremy Stevens, you got fucking Angie Hill, you got a bunch of big names. So I don't know, kind of interesting. You liked that card last week though?
I thought it was great.
I thought it was like one of the best ones
really good. Yeah,
of this year, right? Cool. We will go and wrap that there. We will transition into our final segment. You guys can listen to a fucking clip of, let me pull exactly what it is, before we go into our UFC 222 breakdown, which is going to be interesting. I got some feels about this card. But you guys can, for right now, hear the perfect segue, which is on the MMA Vivisection for UFC 222 this week. Connor Rebush and Zane Simon gave us a little taste of Brian Caraway's personal life.
This might sound a little weird, but how's Brian Caraway doing after Miesha Tate left him and immediately got pregnant?
I mean, I think she left him long enough ago that he may have beat Aljamain Sterling.
Did he? Okay. If that's the case, I don't know. I mean, I would be heartbroken. I don't know how Brian Caraway's handling it. So
I don't know.
That's a weird thing to bring up, but it is.
I have more of the feeling that he'd be the kind of dude to like have a secret shrine going and be sure that she's coming back to him someday, than to be like,
if only he wins this fight. Yeah, if only he wins this fight, she'll come back.
Yeah,
right. Although obviously that's not the case, because she went with Johnny Nunez, who is a worse fighter than Brian Caraway.
Yeah, it's certainly not fighter quality that has driven her from his arms and into the arms of another.
But Brian doesn't realize that, so he is sacrificing to the shrine, killing a little pigeon he found in the alley next to his apartment before the shrine, and then he comes to this fight and wins because he has something to fight for. Yeah. So maybe you're right.
Alright guys, we are back.
Yeah, we are. After that great break, what are your thoughts on Connor Rebush's hot takes on Brian Caraway's shrine?
The shrine, that reminds me of something out of Hey Arnold.
Yeah, that's right. Hey Arnold, dude, Helga is on point.
Shrine to Arnold. I'm just saying, like, Brian Caraway has a shrine in his closet or somewhere in his room, or it's like a picture of Miesha Tate, whether it's a Sports Illustrated Miesha Tate or whatever, Prime Miesha Tate, whatever he wants to magic.
I like to think of it as watching her TV in the outside of her house, Miesha Tate. If you know that picture, you know what I'm talking about. It's like lip bite Gina Carano, but the lip bite is all from the backside.
Yeah. Either way, they had...
That was a good segue. I like the just long pause.
Well, I just don't know what that. I didn't see that, but that's the only reason why I said
going,
yeah.
And I'll pull that picture up.
I legit don't know what the picture is. That's the only reason why I said yeah.
How dare you?
If I knew what that was, I would have commented.
You call yourself a male, yet you haven't seen Miesha Tate with her ass out in her backyard. Keep going, and I'll pull a picture.
Well, I'm intrigued now. I mean, I've seen the Sports Illustrated Miesha Tate. I think everyone has.
Similar to that.
No, excuse me. ESPN The Body Miesha Tate. Of course, the body issue, they always do. Anyways, we have UFC 222 coming up. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the first fight of the evening. Or of the, I think this is the first fight of the Fight Pass. No, this is the main card. Who the fuck am I talking about? Anyways, we have Jordan Johnson, age 29. Oh, fuck, fighting out of San Diego, California. But he's with the MMA Lab in Arizona. So we got San Diego Zone, Jordan Johnson, 6'2", light heavyweight 205-pounder, going up against Adam the Prototype Milstead, fighting out of Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania.
It's a weird fight.
Beaver Falls.
Also, this is a very distracting Google search that I'm trying to conduct, and it's a lot of sketchy Miesha Tate pictures that are not helpful for me paying attention. Don't Google. Actually, maybe
go ahead,
Google Miesha Tate ass.
I wouldn't call him sketchy. I'd call him encouraging.
I'd call him sketchy in the way that it's not. None of them are the ones I was looking. Keep going. I'll find the original. But yeah, this fight is interesting.
Either way, as Chris is looking at half-naked pictures of Miesha Tate,
As you should.
as we all should,
Except for Brian Caraway.
except for Brian Scaraway, we have Jordan Johnson versus Adam the Prototype Milstead. Last time we saw Jordan Johnson, he fought against Marcel Fortuna in the Tough 25 finale, which was July 7th, my birthday of last year, which he won a unanimous decision against, like I just said, Marcel Fortuna. This is not a repetition. This is the only time you hear me say that. Before that, he had a victory over Henrique de Silva. Okay, so this is his third UFC fight. He's 8-0, so he's still a young guy. Adam Milstead's 8-1. Wow, so these guys are kind of still pretty fresh in the UFC, both from their third fight. Adam Milstead, the last time we saw him was February 4th of last year. It was a no contest. This was the Curtis Blades fight I think you may have been talking about. We called him Walt Harris.
Yep.
Holy shit, why do we keep getting him confused?
No, wait. No, that was a different no contest.
This is a different no contest. Okay.
Because the Walt Harris one was a TKO. This is on the same card, though. Wait, no, maybe it wasn't. I thought it was, though.
Know, dude.
Right-click it. Right-click the card.
Now I'm confused, man. Let's find out.
I'm confused, too, but that's just because I'm looking at pictures of Miesha Tate.
Yeah.
This is probably not the way to go about conducting a podcast.
No, yeah, it was just that fight. Curtis Blades no contest.
Okay, it was a different card then.
So which one are you looking at again? Miesha Tate
I don't
besides
know.
all of the good-looking photos of her?
I mean, that's all of the photos of her. I don't know where it went.
So wait, what was the context then? You were talking about. You said there was a picture of her looking at her own house. Like what?
No, she's in her backyard looking at a TV, but it's just her in a thong.
Oh, okay.
It's a real good.
That makes sense.
It's a real good picture.
Yeah. See, the reason why I was quoting I should say, referencing the ESPN The Body issue, it's because it's a naked picture of her with her ass as she's.
Oh, I know that one for sure.
That's the one a lot of people will just reference as, and that one with the boxing gloves, and a lot of great photos that we are referencing right now.
Yeah.
And they have no relevance to me picking the fights right now because we are both getting distracted.
Yeah, no, Miesha Tate thick. What are we doing again? What's the show about?
So anyways, I am going to go with Adam Milstead because he went to a no contest with Curtis Blades, which has no logic in that, except that Curtis Blades is a bad motherfucker. So my official pick is going to be Adam Milstead. Who are you going to go with, Pulver, besides Miesha Tate?
I'm going to go with Miesha Tate's baby. No,
I don't think any of us want a baby right now, but I got you on your.
I mean, if I had to choose one, Miesha Tate is probably the one I would go with.
Yeah, spend time with her.
Yo, she could get me pregnant.
Hey, what year is it?
Yo, bro, I'm progressive.
Hey, guys, Pulver's in 2045 right now.
That's right. I'm in 2045. Did I not tell you guys I'm fucking that?
Oh, Blade Runner reference. Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
I haven't seen a new one yet. So I'm going with Milstead. Who do you think you got? I mean, I'll just give you a rundown.
I got it.
Honest, I have no idea to the fact I'm going to this dude.
So here's the thing. Click over to Milstead's profile again. I'm leaning Milstead, but like, I don't have any faith in going with Milstead. I watched enough tape, or I watched some tape. I shouldn't say I watched enough tape, especially in these first couple. But I don't know. Jordan's so young, and while he's clearly the better wrestler, I don't know what that's gonna mean in this fight.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna lean Milstead, but with like zero fucking confidence at all in this
I just
pick.
want to say if I can call it a draw.
Yeah.
It's not always the best pick, but either way, speaking of Miesha Tate, this next fight up we have Brian Caraway. I used to call him Brian Scaraway. I'm not going to anymore. I actually I read an interview.
You called him Brian Scaraway as recently as like 3 minutes ago.
I know, but I'm not going to anymore. And I probably will. I'm going to contradict myself right now. I read an article earlier today about Brian Caraway's struggles. Apparently, he had like mental health issues and a lot of shit going on besides the whole Miesha Tate thing.
Dude, I would too. When you're like, oh my god,
the girl of my dreams, that kind of thing, right? But either way, Brian Caraway, Kid Lightning, fighting out of Seattle, Washington. The last we saw him, he actually beat Aljamain Sterling via split decision in May of 2016, so hasn't fought in almost 2 years. By the way, after he broke with Miesha Tate, he went to
Thailand.
Vietnam
Was
or
it
Thailand.
Vietnam?
It was one of those two countries.
He went on the Ari Shaffir
really-
sex tour.
Got really drunk and fucked a bunch of hookers, allegedly.
Is that confirmed?
According to a Redditor, swear to God, because he had a picture with Brian Kerr, and Brian Kerr was like, this
I
is
saw
the
that
photo.
picture, but
he was
also-
like, just like...
But also, like, you don't just get to claim that he was fucking a bunch of hookers by taking a picture with them.
But that's what the guy said, because he said he was there where there was hookers, so...
Yeah, but where is
still-
there not hookers
But
over
I know,
there?
but that's what I'm saying. Don't get me, I'm not siding with the guy that took the photo, because he doesn't know what Brian Caraway did. But that's why it's fun to run with that fake news.
But if you're gonna run with fake news, you definitely throw out the word tranny in that sentence.
And you gotta have a better hashtag.
Right? Like, that's why you say Ari Shaffir went on the tranny sex tour. Like, it's a way better story. And also factual.
So we got Brian Caraway versus Cody Flowercock, a.k.a. Cody Stamen.
Yeah, that's right. Pedal Dick, as I believe he was
So
once
last time we
coined.
saw Mr. Wonderful Pedal Dick, he had
Wow.
his...
That's a hell of a name.
I'm fucking kidding.
I'm Mr. Wonderful in front of it. It's like Phil Davis had a fucking bastard child with the flower dick.
He had a victory over Tom Duquesnoy. He split decision victory.
Super impressive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very, very scrappy
It
performance.
was a close fight, too.
Before that, he had a unanimous decision victory over Terrian Ware. I always forget these guys are 135ers.
40, I believe. Oh, no, you're right, 30.
Only because
I know, Sure Dog fucks with me.
O'Malley. Yeah. This is interesting. So we got a guy who fought in Cody Stamen as recently as October versus Brian Caraway. He hasn't fought, excuse me,
May of
In almost-
2016,
in
so
almost 2
before
years.
UFC 200. And that's crazy that Aljo fight was before UFC 200. We covered that on the show like forever ago.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was Almeida versus Garbrandt.
You know what? I'm going with Cody Stamen. I know, like I've said before, when you have time off, ring rust affects some people. It doesn't affect others. I don't think it's gonna necessarily affect Brian Caraway, but I'm going with Cody Stamen. The fact that he had he's grinded out an impressive win streak. Yes, this is only his third UFC fight. But I just gotta go with momentum here when I'm kind of unsure. So I'm gonna go with Cody Stamen.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the same way. Honestly, a couple things make me lean that way. Number one, Brian Caraway's long time off. Obviously, as I mentioned in the show a lot, I lean against layoffs in general. Although there are exceptions to that, as will come up on this card probably. Maybe. I'm still not convinced which way I'm going on some of these.
One thing's for certain, though, is they said on Reddit, Brian Caraway's pullout game is very strong. As in, he pulls out of a lot of fights, and he clearly pulled out of Miesha Tate.
Either his pullout game is very strong, or his estrogen game is really strong.
That too. Ain't no baby.
I don't want to throw shade at Brian Caraway for not.
We're just totally
knocking
fucking.
out
We're
Miesha
totally
Tate.
fucking with him.
I know.
It doesn't matter to me.
Maybe the other dude is just like blasting children into chicks from across the street.
That
Like, who
reminds me,
knows?
Johnny Nunez, who is
That
0-4 in tough. And if you watched season 25 last year, he was very friendly with Miesha Tate when she made an appearance.
Really?
He hooked up with some other chick who was a UFC fighter too, and someone mentioned her like, either this dude hangs dong, or the people don't care that he just doesn't win fights.
Dude, his nickname may be 0-4, but he is known to Misha as 0-0. You know what I'm saying? Bow, bow, bow.
Oh.
Killed it.
I mean, clearly he showed her his own face.
Man.
Either way,
Nailed
enough
it.
with the shitty.
Nailed it.
Enough with the shitty Office Space references.
That's right.
Lumberg, because clearly he didn't fuck Lumberg. Maybe he did in another life. Zach Otto, the Barbarian, is having a fight against Mike Pyle, the scrappy veteran, he had mentioned on Era Hawani's MMA Hour, this is his last fight ever.
And his last fight was in 2016 prior to this, which, again, like...
December 30th of 2016 at UFC 207, where he got knocked the fuck out. Excuse me, he just got knocked out.
No, he got knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
That overhand right he got clipped with while throwing a leg kick was ugly as shit. He went out cold. And I should be noted, this is why I'm not hyped on this card. Like, everyone either has a huge layoff or it's super one-sided.
Isn't
or
Mike Pyle a guy? He's fighting right now at welterweight. Isn't he a guy that fought at featherweight at one point when he was younger?
No.
I thought he was way down there.
I'm thinking Mike Kyle. No, wait, Mike Kyle's the
I'm
heavyweight.
probably thinking of Kenny Florian because I know he went up like 1 from 455.
I think
70.
Pyle was a 55er, but I don't think he ever was down to
I'm thinking of Kenny
145.
Florian because Florian went from featherweight to welterweight. At one point,
welterweight was only for Kenny on Tough, which Kyle Kyle might have fought out like fucking 85 on Tough or bigger. I don't remember.
So then we got Zach Otto. His last fight was against Jangalang, a.k.a. Jingliang Li.
Oh, I thought it was a.k.a. was fucking finger hands.
Gouge your eyes out to get out of a guillotine.
Yeah, finger eyes.
Mr.
Eye fingers.
The Chinese eye gouger.
What's the name of that movie where the dude has the fucking handful of eyes? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, that was Pan's Labyrinth. The creepy monster where his eyes are in his hands.
Yep.
That movie's actually excellent.
Fucking Jang.
Takes place during the Spanish Civil War.
Jang Pan's Labyrinth Ling.
Yeah. Just Pan's Labyrinth Lee. So Zach Otto's had a couple of interesting fights. This is his 5th total UFC fight. He fought on Thanksgiving or close to Thanksgiving of last year. Mike Pyle hasn't fought in a year and a half.
It's a rough. It's a tough fight.
He's fought against. Yeah, I'm going with Zach Otto. I don't want to say reluctantly, but it's to the point where Mike Pyle's like, dude, fuck it, it's my last fight. So it's like I just don't know how he's gonna come out.
Yeah, whenever you show up and you say,
"It's my last paycheck."
Not only my last paycheck, but he's like, I feel like the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Like, I don't have any. I always bet against dudes on retirement fights because I'm an asshole like that. Except for unless you're like Dan Henderson or Sakuraba. But that's just because Sakuraba never retires. But I have made plenty of fucking money on Sakuraba, unfortunately. And not from him winning. But yeah, it's one of those fights where I would like Mike Pyle to win. I don't. Mike Pyle could win. Zach Otto is not like a monster. Zach Otto will exchange in weird grappling exchanges. Zach Otto will put himself in uncomfortable positions. Zach Otto will get clipped. The way Mike Pyle got clipped with that overhand right when he threw a leg kick in the last fight was uncomfortable. And it in a way that I can't pick him.
So here's a fight,
which is actually the opposite of this next fight.
I'll say this right now. Honestly, I had no idea this fight was happening.
It's a weird fight.
I had
to be
no
fair.
idea Hector Lombard was still in the UFC. I had no idea CB Dollaway was still in the UFC after that elevator incident at 203 where he got fucked up.
Yep.
I don't know what to make of this fight. I'll go over Hector Lombard.
I mean, yes, that's the right way to think about it. Is
Hector Lombard, a.k.a. the former Bellator middleweight champion, which holds some relevance to fight fans and no relevance to some.
Yes, but the Bellator middleweight champion in, I want to say Bellator 2?
Yeah. That's why I was saying that.
Literally, and they're on 195 this weekend.
Lombard is on a current 4-fight losing streak.
To be fair to him, it's a big 4 names he's got in front of him. And they're a similar build. They're all very similar.
5'9".
No, I mean, build like style-wise.
Yeah. His last fight we saw him, he lost. He got knocked out by Anthony Smith in September of last year. Before that, he lost a decision unanimously to Johnny Pig Rig Hendricks.
Closer than it should have been.
Yeah. I remember watching that fight, and then before that, he got elbow KO'd by Dan Henderson when he's like 40 years old.
Nasty.
CB Dollaway, I'll be honest, dude, I think I've only ever fought this guy once, and it was against Michael Bisping.
You mean you've only seen him fight once? Because you said you only fought him once.
Did I say fought him?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
You fought him once against Michael Bisping.
That would have been interesting to watch that. Or very bad for
I was
health.
wondering if you were playing Michael Bisping on UFC.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, who can I beat up in this game?
What game is
Let's
CB
fight.
Dollaway?
Yeah, I don't even think it's a game. Anyway, CB the Doberman Dollaway from Tempe, Arizona. 34 years old, 6'2", a good-sized middleweight fighter.
Ton of Arizona dudes on this card, which is weird because it's not in Arizona.
His last fight out was a victory against Ed Herman, which is a unanimous decision. Before that, in December,
which is in 2017.
Oh, okay, so just about 10 months ago or
but that's 2017 Ed Herman.
Yeah. This is the thing that concerns me. Sure, he fought last year, but the fight before the Ed Herman fight was in 2015.
Right. And that was 2017 Ed Herman. Like, pull up Ed Herman right now. Let's go ahead and take a look at his record right now. Because it's... he had a loss to CB Dalloway. He had a loss.
But that's his last fight, too.
He had a loss to Nikita Krylov, who he should not have been fighting.
Wasn't that guy hyped up pretty good for a second light heavyweight?
Yeah, no, Nikita's great. That's the problem. He also killed fucking Ed Herman with a high kick, if you remember. Yeah. I believe it was a lead high kick right over the lead shoulder of Ed Herman, and it fucking put him out. Yeah, went over Tim Bosch, lost to Derek Bronson, but like, and the win over Tim Bosch and Hofffield and Tal and Trevor Smith looked better until you realize none of those dudes fight anymore. I mean, Tim Bosch, I guess, does, but, like, Tim Bosch is also at the end of his career.
Yeah.
And is known for being a live by the sword, die by the sword kind of guy, so.
Yeah, so.
It's a weird fight to pick.
I'll say this right now. This fight sucks. Sorry.
I think it's fun, but I don't think it's high. It's not high level.
It's fun in the wrong ways. I'm going with Hector Lombard.
This could be a scrap.
I have no logic in my reasoning. I'm just picking something.
No, that's the right pick as far as I'm concerned. Can CB Dalloway win? Yes, absolutely. If he lasts more than if he lasts more than 7 minutes in this fight, I think CB Dalloway wins this fight. I don't think he lasts more than 7 minutes in this fight. Yeah. I don't think he lasts more than 3 minutes in this fight.
The next fight we have is a bantamweight matchup between John the Magician Dodson, fighting out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, Jackson Wink MMA, versus Pedro Munoz, the Young Punisher, out of ATT. The other bantamweight who is known for his guillotine choke, one of the best guillotine chokes.
Guillotine and also having a decent kickboxing game.
Yeah, so I think this fight's going to be closer than what we might imagine.
I agree.
Initially, I was on the fence about this. I was going back and forth with Munoz. Dodson. This was supposed to be originally, I think, at 220 or 221, something like that.
Something like that. One of those.
Multiple times. Last time we saw John Dodson, he lost a split decision to Marlon Moraes. I think I gave it to Marlon Moraes very closely. He had more control.
Yeah, I had it from Marlon.
He had more significant strikes to Dodson. Dodson did clip a couple times.
It was close.
It was a close fight.
For sure.
Before that, he had a win over Eddie Wineland in April of 2017, last year. After that, he had a split decision loss to John Lineker, and I scored that to John Dodson. I don't care what anyone says.
You?
I give that to Dodson.
I don't remember much scoring on that.
I'll say it was insanely close.
I remember
it was a coin
close,
flip decision. It was bullshit. Well, I guess it's not a coin flip. I give it to Dodson. I mean, if I didn't think it's a coin flip. After that, he had murdered Manny Gambarian into retirement with uppercuts.
Oh my god, that was one of the scariest.
And that was his bantamweight debut.
That was one of the scariest debuts.
That was really bad. Pedro Munoz, last time we saw him, he's on a good 4-fight win streak.
Interesting set of names, actually, and especially if you include 5 and 6 too.
Yeah, Rob Font, who we saw beat. Fuck, who did he just beat?
He just beat someone on the card. Cody Stamen? No. Thomas Almeida.
Yeah. Knocked him out.
And lost to Pedro Munoz. That was the other. I know I just watched footage on him.
Okay, I'll be honest. Initially, I was going to choose Pedro Munoz based on his guillotine and just his jiu-jitsu.
Dude, his guillotine's nasty, man.
But
look at that guillotine run he's got going.
Yeah, look, let's look at
Justin Scoggins, Russell Doan.
Guillotine. It's like some Faber shit.
Rob Font.
But, dude, I like John Dodson's scrambling, dude, and his ability to take your back after a scramble. I don't know. But John Dodson's just mainly, he's been decisioning people, like, I don't know,
I mean, he's either decisions you or he kills you, yeah. That's how it works. I mean, he could lose the decision, he could win the decision.
This is weird.
He doesn't really get finished.
I'm leaning Pedro Munoz, but instinctively, I am going John Dodson. I like his scrambling ability. I like his ability to sprawl. He's actually shorter. I don't know how much shorter. He's 5'3", Munoz is 5'6", so not too much of a big difference. I think it's going to be a big factor in this. I like John Dodson, if I could speak English and enunciate correctly. I like him by decision. I think he's just going to kind of piece him up. There's going to be a shitload of scrambles. Munoz will have him in a couple of things. I think so. He's not going to necessarily catch him tight, you know? But I think it's be one of those instances where it's just going to be back and forth, and Dodson's going to grind it out.
100% agree.
Bad. I just premature went
No,
for you.
I 100% agree. I think that John Dodson is, while he will get caught in a guillotine, he will not get finished with a guillotine in this fight. He will do a lot of scrambling I would assume he's going to do a lot of scrambling side control when he does get tossed into a guillotine, and I have trouble seeing a way where Pedro Munoz finishes John Dodson if it's not off the scramble in the first minute and a half. I don't think John Dodson's going to engage enough for him to actually have any kind of success in that game plan. And also, I just think John Dodson's underrated. So yeah, I'm going to go Dodson for sure by decision. I could see a knockout via uppercut, left hook, something like that. Or uppercut, lead hook. Just if Pedro gets real desperate towards the end, but in general, I would lean, probably decision off of just trying to keep distance and piece them apart from the outside.
So then next up we have Mackenzie Dern versus Ashley Yoder.
This is a weird fight.
Mackenzie Dern, I can't remember her dad's name, but I remember on BBC MMA they were talking to her. Her dad was some big jiu-jitsu guy, right?
He is. I will pull up the name.
I think his name was the Mountain something.
No, it's not the Mountain. It's similar to that, though. It's a nickname.
Mackenzie Dern's only 24 or 25. I don't know how updated they have this. She's a...
Speaking of sweet Instagrams.
Perfect I know, right? A perfect 5-0 and check her out.
Oh, that's not what I thought you were going to say when you said a perfect.
No, I'm not just... Yeah. I was just leading in.
Joking.
She is a perfect 5-0 in the octagon or in the ring or whatever you want to call it. This is her UFC debut. She's going up against Ashley, the Spider Monkey Yoder, who is tall for the weight class. She's 5'7".
She is the daughter of Wellington Megaton Diaz.
Megaton. Yes, that's what it is.
Who is a famous Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt.
Yep.
Under Hoyler.
There we go.
Sorry. Official black belt. Yeah, Hoyler.
Mackenzie Dern is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Super high level, multiple-time ADCC, and fucking a billion other kind of championships, Pan-American.
Ashley Yoder, I'll be honest, I saw her on Tough a couple years ago, and I can't remember what her
Tough as hell.
was. She's scrappy as fuck. Her last two fights were against Angela Hill, and she lost the decision to unanimously July 7 of last year, the Tough 25 finale.
Which was a scrappy fight.
And before that, she lost to Justine Kish.
Another scrappy fight, And then it went over Amber Brown, which is notable, because Amber the Bully Brown is a tough motherfucker. I believe her nickname is the Bully.
This is an interesting fight. I'm actually going to go with Mackenzie Dern based on her very, very, very high-level jiu-jitsu. I know she's shorter and has the height disadvantage, but when you have someone like Ashley Yoder who has a lot of long limbs that you can grab onto, I really think Mackenzie Dern's going to be able to take advantage of that just based on just jiu-jitsu alone.
Yeah.
And I just have to go with that. If you're that high-level jiu-jitsu, I don't care if it's your debut. She's probably going to treat it like it's just another jiu-jitsu match. She's not going to treat it like that, but you know what I mean, though, as far as that essence, if she can find that, I think the only way she'll have trouble is on the feet, because I've never seen Dern on the feet.
So I disagree in that the only way I see her having trouble is in the fucking weight cut.
Oh, okay.
This is at 115, and she is so far...
What is Mackenzie Dern usually?
Mackenzie Dern is 2 for 2 at making 115.
Oh, yikes.
She has had one fight at 125, and she is 2 for 2 at making 115. So I don't think she's gonna make weight for this fight. To be honest, if she does,
be a catch weight like 120, 118.
Yeah, because the UFC will pay everyone enough money to make sure it happens because they need Mackenzie Dern. If this fight happens, first off, if Mackenzie Dern blows weight, Ashley Yoder should not take this fight. She should fucking pass on it. She should be like, fuck that bitch. Just because if you're going to blow weight at 115 and you're Ashley Yoder already coming in as a big underdog and in the UFC's eyes, getting set up to not look good. If Mackenzie Dern blows weight, there's no reason to take that fight.
Yeah.
I especially for whatever, I can't imagine Ashley Yoder's making 25 and 25 even. Like, even if she is, that's a tough situation. So, if Mackenzie Dern does not make weight, I would like to see Ashley Yoder not take the fight. I think that is the super smart move, and I'm real concerned about that being an issue. That being said, I do believe that if this fight goes on, Mackenzie Dern will win it. Kline Medeiros, I apologize, who Mackenzie Dern fought last time, is super fucking tough, super scrappy, and very underrated.
Your favorite ref initiated a fight.
Oh, yeah, my boy, Mr. Headstand himself, Mike England. Kline Medeiros is a very, very, very good 115er. That being said, she's also small for the division, but I think she is much more well-rounded than Ashley Yoder, and a lot crisper and less willing to get into weird grappling exchanges than Ashley Yoder will be. And so if this fight does happen, I think Mackenzie Dern probably ends up winning via weird grappling exchanges where Ashley Yoder just kind of walks into a clinch and ends up on bottom. And if Mackenzie Dern ends up on top at any point in this fight is probably over. Her fucking ground game is unreal. Her passing game, if you go watch the Kline Medeiros fight, like, people don't do that shit to Kline Medeiros, and her passing game is insane. So I'm going Mackenzie Dern, but with zero faith that she makes weight or that this fight necessarily even happens at all. But we will
it's a
see.
shame we have to kind of think that way, but we gotta look at it realistically. By the way, this fight right here.
That fight is happening. I don't know why it's not on the Sherdog page.
So should we just mention who we think's
Yes,
gonna win?
we'll go for it, even if...
I don't know who this guy is. I feel like a piece of shit.
Google him. Just copy-paste and put him in Wikipedia. Beneil Dariush is taking on Alexander Hernandez. I don't know anything about Alexander Hernandez other than he's fighting Beneil Dariush. Let's go and pull up his Sherdog page right below that. Boom. He is coming out of LFA, which is already a good sign, coming off a win over Derek Adkins, who I'm not aware of. Definitely being brought in last minute with one RFA win and one LFA win. This is
not a... Well...
not competitive from what I'm...
Yeah.
I've done zero tape study on this one.
Last time we saw Beneil Dariush, he had a majority draw against Evan Dunham. I don't remember that fight, because the last fight I remember with Beneil Dariush, he got knocked the fuck out by Edson Barboza with a knee. A fight he was winning, in my opinion, because he had very good pressure. It was landing with his body shots.
And Edson's just a crazy person who, like,
I'm just going to say right now, no disrespect to Alexander Hernandez, maybe this would be his coming out party as far as, like, this is who the fuck I am.
It 100% will be if he wins this.
Oh, yeah, if he wins, then he's legit. Yeah,
I just don't know anything about him. And Ohana being his team name means I think he's probably going to get out grappled, which is probably not nice of me, but I'm going to go Beneil by probably inside the distance, probably submission. If it's not submission, it's going to be some kind of finish inside the clinch, knee or elbow.
So this next fight, we're probably going to be a little bit biased. Just a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I'm
actually going to be extremely biased because I like this fighter a lot.
Me too.
I interviewed her. I talked with her. She's really sweet. She's humble. And, yeah.
And she's from Alliance, motherfucker, San Diego, bitch.
Yeah, so Kat Zingano is fighting a very scrappy fighter in Ketlin Fenomeno Vieira. Last time we saw Kat Zingano was a year and a half ago. July of 2016, she lost a unanimous decision to Juliana Pena.
Which was a close fight for the first round and a half until she gassed.
Yeah, so... And I know Kat Zingano is one of the bigger 135ers. I think she's naturally a featherweight.
Well, and Pena also Pena is known for keeping a crazy pace the entire time. Like, that's her whole game plan, is Pena wears you out and will out-grapple you. So it makes Calvin Vieira kind of an interesting opponent, especially as one who is known to lean against you on the cage and getting into weird, scrambly grappling exchanges.
And just know, for those who don't know who Kat Zingano is, she does have victories over current 135 champion.
Over a bunch of killers.
Amanda Nunes, she knocked her out, TKO in 2014.
Yep.
She has a TKO victory over Misha Tate. She has a submission rear naked choke over Rocky Pennington.
Who is fighting for the title.
Who, is fighting for the title against Nunes.
Tiaka Hamasha.
Barb Honchak. I mean, goddamn. It's just
Karina Dom. Yeah, Barb Honchak.
And then we got Ketlin Vieira, who's 9-0, still new to the game a little bit.
Coming out the Brazilian scene, right?
Nova, Jose Aldo's gym.
Yeah, wins over Kelly Fashholtz, Ashley Evans Smith, and Sarah McMahon.
Was her last victory, submitted her via arm triangle choke.
Kelly Fashholtz and Ashley Evans Smith are both tough as nails.
I'll say this right now. I'm going with Kat Zingano. I know I'm biased. Yes, I am. I know she has a big layoff. I just like her body of work more. I don't care. I think if you've been that good in the past, you could still bring it as long as you have a good camp and you can kind of recollect yourself. Yes, I know there might be ring rust. Yes, it affects some people. Who knows? We don't know what kind of Kat Zingano we'll see. If she goes out there and finishes Ketlin Vieira saying, fuck it, the first round, oh yeah, you'd be like, all right, let's go. Here she is. She's back. As long as you can stay healthy, I'm stoked to see what comes next.
Yeah, and
that's basically all I really have to say.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I see this going. Is I'm gonna pick Kat as well. However, if this fight goes past 2 rounds, I think Kelvin Vieira could take this fight.
Yeah.
I don't know. Kat's so big for that division, especially how big she's been looking on Instagram and stuff. I'm not trying to throw shade. I'm just saying.
No, she's just built. She's big.
Built
she's
on
jacked,
Instagram.
dude.
Yeah, super jacked. And when you saw her, she was super big. Yeah, for 125.
Dude, I saw her arms. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Yeah, like in the video. Yeah, or in and all that. So, yeah, I'm gonna lean Kat. But if Ketlin Vieira can grind it out against the cage enough and drag this into the second round, third round, especially the third round, if this goes to the third round, Ketlin Vieira, I think, has a decent chance of winning a very ugly decision. But, yeah, I like Kat to win the grappling exchanges and especially the striking. If she can stay out of the clinch, if she can keep her back off the cage in the clinch, I think she wins that fight.
So, this next fight, I'll be honest, really weird matchup. Well, anyone fighting Stefan Struve, it's an interesting matchup. Stefan Struve, you don't know, is 7 feet tall. He's a fucking skyscraper. He's Dutch. He's from Biervik, North Holland, Netherlands. And I know I said that wrong because that sounded more German than Dutch, and the Dutch would murder me if they heard me say it that way. But either way,
that's right. Chris knows because he knows these people.
Yeah, the Dutch have a rivalry with the Germans as far as just how their language is and the difference between German and Dutch. Either way,
and I'm guessing also some bombings, knowing the Germans.
Yeah, if you're in Rotterdam, there's little things on the sidewalk that indicate where they got bombed during World War II. Just as a reminder to all German tourists. Just kidding. Too soon. That is very fucked up what I just said.
No, they also have giant. I was gonna say they have giant small dick statues on each of those, but that makes some weird double negative.
Sure.
I just assume all of Europe constantly tries to remind Germany that they have small dicks. That's my new assumption. Eugene S. Robinson at one point made a.
Is that something he said?
Yeah. He put out an article that the reason why the Germans tried to invade all of Europe is because they had small dicks, and it's like kind of substantiated through German like studies and reports and shit that came out at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
That's interesting. I will look into it. Also, not really. I don't care, but as any barber would say, he might look into it.
Yeah.
I think he would.
What do you look? You find your information from the library, bro?
Yeah, the library. Either way, we have Stefan Struve versus former heavyweight champion of the world, Andre the Pitbull Arlovski.
Yeah.
Arlovski, fighting out of Minsk, Belarus.
How taste by PB himself.
Yeah.
My favorite.
Coming off a quote. Okay, initially he had a fight.
Yes, he's coming off a win,
listen
Chris.
What are you talking about? No.
He's coming off a win.
That's what I said initially. So he's coming off a victory over Junior Albino, the baby himself.
Oh, yeah, the diaper bout.
Yeah, the baby.
As it's referred to.
The big baby. Before that, he had a 5-fight skid against a very notable list of contenders. Stipe Miocic, the current heavyweight and winningest heavyweight of all time in UFC history, Stipe Miocic. Then he had a loss against Alistair Overeem. Then
right
he had a loss against
Overeem's title
Josh
fight.
Steroid Barnett.
Right before getting popped.
Then he had a loss. I just almost said victory. That's totally wrong. He got knocked out by Francis Ngannou.
Right before Francis' title fight.
And then he had a loss to Marcin Tybura.
Who turns out is pretty fucking good.
Yeah. So, Andrei Arlovski's been in the ringer as of late.
The thing is, Stefan Struve has looked great except for that Volkov fight, and Volkov has looked real fucking good as of late.
He's fighting on this card too, I believe.
No, Volkov's coming. He's fighting Verdum.
That's right. I was absolutely wrong.
So I think not next week, but the week after or something like that.
And Volkov's 6'7".
Yes,
that wasn't a good matchup for Struve technically because that dude's tall.
Well,
I guess it doesn't matter.
Struve also is terrible using his reach.
Yeah,
which is always a weird factor in fights.
Except for the Stipe fight, which is an anomaly.
And even then, he didn't do it great. He did it great for a bit, and then it kind of fell apart.
Either way, I'll be honest right now. I don't know how to actually pick this fight. Yeah, I honestly really don't know. I think I might just flip a coin. I literally have no fucking clue how to pick this. I have no actual input or insight in this. I really don't. I'm sorry.
You should flip a coin because that's actually very accurate. I will say ahead of time while Chris pulls a coin. Here, you flip a bottle cap. That one's wet, so I won't make you flip that one.
Here we go.
Flip a bottle cap. I'm gonna go.
Alright, so Guinness will be.
I'm going Arlovski.
Guinness will be Arlovski.
And on Guinness is Struve.
If I can actually flip this. So it looks like I went Struve.
Alright, I am going Arlovski just because Arlovski has looked not horrible lately. He's he went to decision with Junior Albini, which is, while it's not the best, it's I don't know. I want Andre to win. I like Andre. I'm gonna go with that. Speaking of people I don't want to win,
we got Pulver's boy Sugar Sean O'Malley, Mr. Weed and Fortnite himself.
I didn't know I was Snoop Dogg because I thought Sugar Sean O'Malley was Snoop Dogg's guy.
Or Little Dicky, as Snoop Dogg called him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sean O'Malley, only 23 years old, which explains he still likes weed a lot in Fortnite, which, well, we all love weed, but he compares it with Fortnite. Me, personally, I like PUBG, but, I'm an adult.
Fair. That's fair. Also, you have a PC, or no, you don't have a PC.
I have an Xbox.
You're playing my God.
By the way, God bless
These fucking filthy casuals.
I know. Hey, I know, you're like, how could you play that on console, you peasant?
Fucking FPS on console.
That's why I need to get the X. I mean, it's still not as good, but at least it's close.
Yeah, frame rate, though.
A little close. So we got Sugar Sean O'Malley. You might know him from Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series when he defeated Alfred Kazakhstan. I said that wrong. His UFC debut was last December.
I believe it's called
Kazakh Popcorn Kernel.
Yeah. Shouts out to Eugene S. Robinson.
Going up against Andrei Sukmantat, a.k.a. as Sugar Sean O'Malley.
I think it's Sukumtat.
Sukumtat. Yeah, not Sukmantat. It's Sukumtat. You're absolutely right. I was way off.
Just the Asian sensation.
Yep, he is Laosian or Lao? Is it Lao?
From Laos.
He's from Laos. That's cool, man. A lot more Southeast Asian
First one, I believe.
That's badass.
Or at least
Sugar Sean O'Malley kept calling him Andre Soccer Bomb. Okay.
Shocking. Also, what else would you think Sean O'Malley has references to? Like bookstores and soccer moms are like his two, and he can't call him Andre Bookstore, so he went with soccer mom.
Yeah. So Sean O'Malley, he won his UFC debut against Tyrion Ware. In that fight, he was decent on the feet. He has range. He's 5'11". He's very long and lengthy for that weight class, 135. However, I know he did struggle defending takedowns. I don't recall if Andre
and against Cage.
And against Cage is Sukumtat. is good in wrestling, but I do remember Sukumtat does pressure really well.
Mostly a banger.
Because Luke Saunders is a motherfucking wrestler.
Yeah.
He was able to stuff, not all of them, but some of them, but he's going off his back. I remember when he got to his feet, he was banging against fucking Luke Saunders against the cage.
That was a wild fight. And he definitely will put a pace on dudes that
I'll just say this now.
Interesting.
Sukumtat showed me he has some flash KO power. Sean O'Malley could scrap too. For now, he's still young.
Sean O'Malley bangs dudes out and he drags them to deep water.
I'll say this. Right now, I'm actually going to go Andre Sukumtat. That's my official pick for this fight. I think O'Malley's still young in the game. He's only 23. So it's not like it's a bad thing to pick against him and win or lose. Dana White clearly wants to push this kid.
Oh, 100%. He wants Sean O'Malley to win.
So I'm going Sukumtat, though. I like his shot. I like his style. The style matchup against Sean O'Malley, not that big of a size differential. I don't know what the reach advantage or disadvantage is.
No, yeah. I actually 100% agree on this.
You're going Sukumtat as well?
Yep. Mostly, have we even picked different on? Oh yeah,
just one.
Really, just the 7th True fight.
Does that just mean
That's
this is
hilarious.
an easy to pick card?
Yes.
Yes. I guess so.
Most people,
unfortunately,
I've heard the only things I've heard different from what we're going with so far is some people are leaning Caraway and some people are leaning Pile. Are like the only things I've heard separate from what we've picked so far. I do honestly think people are sleeping on Ashley Yoder a little bit, but from the footage I've seen, Ashley Yoder just doesn't. She's too willing to get into weird clinch exchanges to not end up losing a via sub or at least staying on bottom the whole time. But yeah, Sukumtat. I like Sukumtat for being able to counter more effectively and for Sean O'Malley maybe being the most hittable fucking dude I've seen in a long time make it this far, aside from Mike Perry. Like, he's got Mike Perry qualities all about him right now.
Yep.
And, like, while he is good on the ground, he is willing to lose grappling exchanges constantly and then just scramble up and then throw really high energy, low output like strikes where it's that style I have trouble having any faith in, really. So yeah, I'm going Sukumtat in this one. And then in our main event, or I should say people's main event.
So we got I said Uriah, I was looking at the names. We got Frankie the Answer Edgar versus basically up-and-comer Brian T. City Ortega, currently still undefeated at 13-0. Fighting out of Torrance, California, the LA native, Brian Ortega, versus New Jersey's Frankie Edgar. Frankie Edgar, the former lightweight champion of the world, which is still insane considering how small he is. I'm not going to say tiny because he's not tiny, he's just short.
No, especially since he won the 155 belt.
Yeah, against dudes who are way bigger than him. Frankie Edgar, last we saw him, he fought another up-and-comer at the time, which, by the way, they pushed way too far as far as the match.
And
that was
he
a terrible match. Murdered him, Yair Rodriguez. Shouts out to Yair Rodriguez, those very scrappy young fighters.
Haven't seen him fight since.
And I think what he's been doing is nomading to different gyms. When we saw he was at Lions last year.
I don't know if that's good, though.
We'll see. I think he's just trying to pick everyone's brains.
It makes me curious, because I believe he's been at...
He's been based in Chicago with some other guys. I can't remember some of the big UFC fighters.
And he spent some time
in Blade. He trains at Curtis Blades.
Yeah.
Where he's training partners or teammates. He's his teammates at Blades.
He spent some time in Arizona too, right?
Yeah.
At the lab.
At the MMA lab.
Which is interesting because that's where Sean O'Malley and Mackenzie Dern are at.
Benson Henderson. And
you wonder.
Calvin Qatar. Is
right.
it Calvin Qatar? No, yeah. Calvin Drokar. No, Calvin Qatar. No. Drokar Close.
Drokar Close, yeah.
Drokar Close, yeah.
Yeah, but you wonder how similar Yair and Mackenzie Dern and Sean O'Malley are in the fact that their push is way bigger than their competition at the time.
So, and last time we saw Brian T. Ortega, he had a fantastic standing guillotine choke against Cub Swanson.
Crazy.
Who was basically piecing him up most of that fight.
I had Cub in that fight, and Cub was winning that fight, but good God. Dude, so T-City grabbed that standing guillotine, went to fake standing arm in guillotine, went to fake like he was adjusting hands, which everyone says, oh, he adjusted hands and he finished. Nah, he said in interviews he went and he had the guillotine with the arm in, and he went to fake that he was gonna go for the no arm. Went back to the arm in because he knew the dude would let his neck up a little bit and sunk that shit, which is even more impressive. I believe it was him and Henner who talked about that, or not Henner. It's Henner, right?
Yeah, Henner's who we traded to Los Angeles.
I always mix up the fucking Gracies.
Native American, or not Native American.
Native American.
I know, right? One of the American-born Gracies.
Yeah.
You know, he's the American accent. You know?
Yeah. He's one of the LA
He's like, yeah,
Gracies.
man, I teach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm great at it. And I'm like, oh, cool.
Yeah, there's no Brazilian.
Yeah, no Brazilian.
But,
yeah. So,
man,
as far as who I like in this, I'm going to tell you right now, I like Frankie Edgar. I know T-City's a third-round guy. Frankie Edgar's got to just keep that fucking pace in, and it's a 3-round fight. If it was a 5-round fight, I think I still might take Frankie because of his cardio, and I have seen T-City fight, but it's always been in 3-round fights.
I agree.
No, but he did fight Swanson in a 5-round fight, so I lied. But, you know what I mean, I just got to go with the veteran still.
But he hasn't like gone 5 rounds.
That's why I got to go Frankie. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I like T-City in this. I like his grappling. But Frankie trains with Ricardo Almeida, man. He's like... I'm not saying he's seen the level of T-City, because I'm pretty sure T-City is arguably one of the top guys in that whole division.
T-City's nowhere near the wrestler.
But he's nowhere near the wrestler.
Frankie is.
And stand-up, too. Frankie's got good inside boxing.
Frankie's the far better stand-up
Look what he did to Jeremy Stevens, dude.
Would agree with that.
Oh, man.
Well, and here's what I want you to do, Chris. While we're looking at Frankie's resume, why don't you go ahead and scroll down and look for the last wrestler/grappler that beat him.
Oh, that beat him? Hence...
Benson Henderson on the sketchy split decisions in which...
That was weird, yeah. He
lost,
had one Unani, but yeah.
I think he won that second one. I need to rewatch it. And then the first one, he lost via upkick. He lost to Gray Maynard, who's a heavy top control.
Oh, no, he did lose.
I guess
but weighed in 08.
Right.
And then he rematched him like 3 years later,
right.
Which is actually weird. I don't know why they waited that long.
Right. But like, name a grappler who's not a heavy top control wrestler that Frankie lost to.
I can't.
There isn't one.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, the ways to beat Frankie are to be a heavy top control wrestler who can outwork Frankie, which is 2 people on the planet ever, or to be Jose Aldo. That's the only way we've seen him beat. I'm not saying Brian Ortega can't catch a guillotine. I think he absolutely can catch a guillotine on anybody on the planet. I don't see a way he catches it on Frankie in competition at the highest level. This is a huge step up for Brian, and while I like Brian and I think he is going to probably... Dude has potential to be a champ someday, easily. He's not getting the Conor McGregor treatment.
He's still young, right? 27? Just turned 27?
But my point is, he's not getting the Conor McGregor treatment on the title shot. Like...
No.
He's not getting to fight a bunch of fucking strikers who are going to lose grappling exchanges and get caught and shit. He's fighting the top...
Deceiver.
Yeah, he's fighting the top competition and the toughest fucking style matchups in the division in a way that is good and the way the sport should work. But also, like, if they were trying to build Brian Ortega, this is a fucking horrible way to do it.
I'm actually kind of surprised they went ahead with it. I get it, though, because Frankie still wanted to fight.
Well, no, and it's, like... What else? What was their other option?
But yeah, there was no other option, yeah.
They literally sacrificed a top-level star.
Unfortunately, he's going to be a sacrificial lamb, and it's unfortunate. It really is.
But one thing it might do, and it very well could, is if people actually watch this card, which I'm very skeptical about, it could push Brian Ortega's name out there in a big way, especially if he hangs in
if he survives
3 rounds with Frankie.
You just fight against Frankie, motherfucker.
Dude, if he hangs in 3 rounds against Frankie, he's easily number 4 in that division right now. Without a question. So, that'll be interesting.
So, this brings us to the main event of the evening.
Oh, boy.
Christiane Justino.
I got feels about this one,
AKA
Chris.
Cyborg, a.k.a. Chris Cyborg, as we know her.
Yep, a.k.a. Ray Elby.
She hasn't lost since 2005. Well, officially, on record.
Yeah.
19-1, 32 years old, 5'8", featherweight out of Curitiba, Parana, Brazil.
Curitiba,
Brazil.
Shoot the ball.
Going up against the scrappy Russian from St. Petersburg, Yana Kunitskaya.
Yeah, that's right, Foxy.
Foxy. Only 28 years old. I guess she's naturally a 130. She looked pretty huge.
She's
though.
35er. She's not a big 35er.
Yeah.
She's smaller than Tanya Evinger.
I think it's because she's just tall. She's 5'8". That's why I was like, oh wait, she's tall. But
Yeah, she's tall.
she's just tall.
But like Chris is like what, the same height?
5'8", yeah. Same way Holly Holm. That's why they.
Yeah, but like built completely differently.
Yeah.
Like Holly and Chris are built totally differently than Yana is.
So.
Yana's built way more like Raquel.
So, as we saw Chris Cyborg was just a couple months ago in December. She had a unanimous decision victory over Holly Holm. Very good performance. Before that, she
one of the most impressive performances.
That was very impressive. She defeated Tanya Evinger in July of last year.
Another super impressive performance.
Knocked her with the knee. Before that, she beat Leah Landsberg, Leslie Smith, even though Leslie Smith thought that was a premature stoppage. Either way, God bless Leslie Smith.
And that was late. The Tanya fight was late notice. I believe the Leslie Smith fight was late notice, right?
Was, yes. So Yunitskaya, last time we saw her, which I didn't, unfortunately. I did see the Tanya.
Kunitskaya, you mean?
Did I keep saying Yunitskaya or Kunitskaya? I don't know why. Maybe it's
Yunitskaya.
Yeah, maybe it sounds, I don't know.
You're not the only one.
Yeah.
Breen Schaub has been calling her fucking 18,000 names this week.
Yeah. Probably call her Kana. I don't know. Either way, Kunitskaya, last time she fought, she defeated Raquel Paul-Louis. The unanimous decision at Invicta Fight Club 25.
I think it's fighting championships.
Fighting, Fight Club, yeah. Fight Club, championship, that makes more sense.
Yeah, but Raquel Paul-Louis, people sleep on because she has had a sketchy record that's been up and down. But Raquel Paul-Louis is a tough fucking out, especially as a grappler. She is scrappy as fuck, and Raquel Paul-Louis has been improving constantly, so it is a much bigger win than people are giving her credit for.
And to be fair, Yana Kunitskaya does have a TKO victory over the soccer mom herself, Cindy Dandois.
She does, yes, way back.
That brings a lot of merit, man. Go whole 8 years ago.
That's right. I mean, it literally does.
So you gotta watch out for that.
Cindy Dandois is a tough out. Like, people sleep on Cindy Dandois. Cindy Dandois, just because her striking sucks, people think she sucks. Her grappling is very good.
She's from Belgium, so,
Dude, her grappling and wrestling is actually very fucking good. She beat King Reina recently.
I remember that. Yeah, Japan.
Fucking, I love King Reina. She beat King Reina. It was
some
crazy.
Of our show art.
Crazy.
So, I'll just say right now, I have Chris Cyborg.
Yes, of course. Why would you not have Chris Cyborg? I mean, obviously, we both have
I'm
Chris
not going to go as far as the Roadwire MMA and say that there is absolutely no chance Kunitskaya wins, because that's bullshit. There's always a chance.
There's two chances. Number one, Chris Cyborg blows weight and doesn't retain her title. And the weight cut affects her to a point where she just can't compete. I mean, like, she literally doesn't fight. Not like Yana Kunitskaya wins because of that. Or, Chris, if the weight cut is...
Gases, and Kunitskaya just jabs, outside jabs, and just decisions?
No. Yana Kunitskaya will never out-jab Chris Cyborg. The only way Yana Kunitskaya wins this fight is Chris gets so fucking tired in the first 3 rounds from hitting her in the face that Yana Kunitskaya somehow ends up surviving that and then looking real good in the last, like, round and a half, maybe. But, like, it's not something I would bank on at all. Yana, however, is super crafty on the ground. It won't come into any kind of play because Chris is way better on the ground. But she is super crafty on the ground, which will give her, I believe, confidence to throw, like, kind of some wild shit and just kind of throw crazy shit out there and see what works. But yeah, I'm going Chris TKO round 2.
I like the call.
I just don't see it going any other way.
The fact that I don't think this happened in a long time, out of all these picks, we only disagreed once.
And even
Does
then,
this make it to be a well put together card or a poorly put together card?
poorly.
Yeah.
It's not a good card. Matchup wise, there are. Here, I'll look through it right now. I care about if I'm doing a care don't care Eugenius Robinson style, like bloody elbow style kind of thing. I guess I care about Brian Caraway, Cody Stamen.
I care about that.
I guess I care about John Dodson, Pedro Munoz.
I kind of care about that. I care about the Mackenzie Dern Yoder fight.
I don't.
No, maybe not, huh?
I mean, like, no.
I just want to see if she does against
I could see
That's
people.
why I want to see that.
I could see people who would care. I just don't give a fuck
and I've
about.
never seen her roll,
like,
so.
Mackenzie Dern should be an Invicta still. And I would,
A little too soon.
And I would care if she was in Invicta. I don't.
We
care
about
that.
Kat Zingano. We're gonna see where she's at
Of
now.
course, yeah. And I care about Andre Sukumtak killing Sean O'Malley, which I think is gonna happen.
And then we care about Frankie and Ortega, and then we care about the main event just a little bit.
I don't really care about the main event. And I like Yana Kunitskaya, and I would argue I'm one of the people who thinks Yana Kunitskaya has a super solid chance at this. However, that she has the kind of chance I would give, like, I give Tanya Evinger a better chance, but when I say that, I mean Tanya Evinger on a full camp. I give her the same kind of chance I give, like, who's like a kickboxing there, like Valentina Shevchenko.
Yeah.
Like that, like, I give her slightly less of a chance than Valentina Shevchenko. And, like, just because I think she, from what I've seen, has slightly slicker grappling, but that doesn't really help you against Cyborg. And she has okay kickboxing, which will help if Cyborg dies in the first 3 rounds because of this 4-week wake up, but I just have a real trouble seeing any kind of success for a lot of this. So I'm honestly not real hyped about this card.
Yeah.
I really liked last week's card.
How much would you pay for it max?
No, we're doing the TJ DeSantis, Eugene S. Robinson style.
Exactly.
I would pay here. You know what I will do? We will start a new segment here for every pay-per-view going forward after this. I am not going to monetize mine in like money for each fight because I'm not gonna, like, if I'm going to watch pay-per-view and pay for it, I'm gonna be at a bar. I'm not gonna buy it on my own.
Or I host it at my place and have like 10 people. And
right, which means I give you like $5-10 or whatever. Yeah. Which is like, that's not a fair assessment of that. So what I would do is,
would you watch
how many beers would I buy at a bar to watch that fight?
Yes.
So I would say for overall, you're saying for like the main card?
Excuse me, yeah, just the main card.
Pull the main card up. I will tell you exactly how many beers I would buy to watch this card. Because you figure, like, I will drink an average of around...
Main card's what, 5 fights? 1, 2,
yeah,
3, 4,
and you figure
5,
I will drink an
6,
average...
So she's got to be on the main one, right?
In that
6.
time, you figure I would drink an average of, like, 6 to 10 beers, probably. In, like, that, like, 3-4 hour span.
So say 7 being the median, so the average beers... So you'd spend about 30, $35. Like,
right. So
that's about my range. Probably most for me 30, 35.
But like, if you were to tell me I could stay home and drink beers up until a certain point, like, I would probably
and be safe because you're in the confines of your own home.
And like, how many beers will I need to get through a fight? Like for Mackenzie Dern, Ashley Yoder, that's a 2-beer fight. So like, is that worth going to the bar for 2 beers?
No,
probably not.
No,
but like Kat Zingano, Caitlin Vieira, that's a 1-beer fight. Where like, I'm not going to need to just start pounding beers to get through the fucking exchanges in that. So, like, I would probably... that's about the time I would show up at the pay-per-view. It's like, man, I'd buy a beer for that. I definitely need 2 beers for Stefan Struve and Andre Arlovski. I'd need, like, at least... probably... I would say 1 beer for Sean O'Malley and Andre Sukumtak because I don't think it's going to go the distance. I'd say I need a beer for Frankie Edgar and Brian Ortega. And I'd say I need a beer for Cristian Justino for Chris Cyborg versus Yana. So what was that, like 1, 3, 4, 5, 6? Something like 6 beers.
Average price $6, so you spend about $35-$36.
So like $40.
$40 tops.
Like 45 with tip and everything, tax. Yeah, like that's about what I would spend on this.
I'd say spend about 30,
That's about
40 tops for me.
That's about what I would
65. I'd say 40 tops for me.
Like, and I would only do that at a bar. Like, I won't buy this card. I'll tell you that right now. Like, I will end up at a bar to do that because I watch everything I do super legitimately.
Well, I have my bar spot at Balboa Tap House, which we're going to watch.
Yeah, hey, you guys, if you ever want to come out to Balboa Tap House, come say what's up.
And that's
also,
if you're in San Diego, of course.
Of course. And shouts out to Danny Downs from the Trading Shots column that he does with Ben Folks. We've seen him there at least once serving up beers during fights. So he's a super good dude. So check that out. But yeah, man, while I'm excited for this card, I'm very not excited for it considering it's pay-per-view.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Like, if this was a regular card, I'd be like, it's a good Fox card. But, like, it's not a good pay-per-view at all.
Nope.
It's a bad pay-per-view.
What is a good pay-per-view is next month, though. I'll tell you fucking that right now.
I bet.
Motherfucking Tony Ferguson and Habib Nurmagomedov.
Right.
And then you got, who else? 223. God damn it.
That 223 card's crazy.
Someone told me there's killer fights.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, there's like killer fights on there.
I wonder, do we have is there fights next weekend? No, right?
No, that's, I think, our commentaries next week.
That's right, so...
Do you think we should hit up G6?
Yes, either G6 or girlfriend Karen will probably make an appearance.
Maybe finally try to get my brother in here.
Yeah, we should get Kyle in.
Wait. I know it. Next week is the 10th, right? Which is Friday?
I think so.
Me and Kyle have that day off because we're supposed to go up to LA and Kyle could come.
Boom.
There we go.
We should do it.
Yeah. I'll let him know tomorrow.
We'll figure out maybe we'll do, I don't know, we'll figure out
Or it might be Saturday. It's Saturday, I think. It would be
Saturday
if
works.
That works. Yeah, I think it'll be Saturday. It'll work for us.
No fight, so we can record whenever. Yeah. But yeah, we'll figure out what we want to do for a podcast. If you guys know of any MMA or any movies that have MMA fighters in them that we should be watching, like Judo Bill Tyler referenced the
and preferably these movies are bad because we have to make fun of them.
Oh yeah, of course.
They've got to be bad.
And that's why I'm referencing Judo Bill Tyler gave us the movie of all movies last time, where I blacked the fuck out and said horrible
questionable
things. Comments. Oh yeah. Oh no. If you guys didn't know, I blacked out early on that commentary. That was a
Your boy Fakanahi.
Oh man, that movie was bad. But like, also, I pre-partied way too hard for that one. So I will try to be more conscious for the next one. But if you guys have any movie suggestions of films with MMA fighters in them that are campy and or ridiculous, we highly recommend sending them to us. We will 100% do a commentary for that, and it'll be 100% a shit show, as always. But is there anything you wanted to plug or anything you got coming up?
All I'm going to say is, if you're a fan of boxing, Deontay Wilder, who I've never actually watched fight, one of the many heavyweight champions, because that's how boxing goes. He is 39-0 with 38 knockouts. He's fighting tomorrow against this guy named Ortiz. Can't remember first name. Probably check that out, because that's going to be before... Actually, you know what? Nope, I lied. That's going to definitely be after... Or no, it's going to be during the card tomorrow.
During, probably.
Well, flip-flop.
It's not tomorrow. It's well, it'll be tomorrow by the time you hear this.
Just flip-flop. Yeah. Should be a killer. You always got to watch a heavyweight who is built... He's 6'7".
Yeah, I'll probably have it on in the second screen or something, but at the bar that I'm totally legitimately watching these at. But we will go ahead and wrap this here. You guys can find us thesoundofviolence.com. Hit us up, TSOV Pod on Twitter. Let us know the MMA podcasts we should be checking out, the ones we're sleeping on. We've been having a lot of great feedback and talking to a bunch of cool people on Twitter, so if you do that, go ahead and check that out. Also, I'm at The Pulver on Twitter. I've had some dudes hit me up lately that have been hilarious, including shouts out to Jake Smith, the Bellator fighter, who eventually will get on a future project I'm working on. But we will wrap this here. You guys, like I said, you can find the website, thesoundofviolence.com as well. If you guys subscribe on iTunes, leave us a rating and a review. That helps us out a bunch. If you like the video on YouTube that we put up, and subscribe to that helps us as well. Also, each week I do try to put together, generally in the show description, I try to link like a SoundCloud or some kind of audio version of a podcast if it's available. I generally try to link directly to their website so you have all the options available. However, if you guys are looking for like just a series of the podcasts that came out on video, if you check us out on YouTube, each week I do put out any of the podcasts we mentioned. I link I add them to a playlist for that episode's recommendations. So like, for example, this week will be episode 70 MMA Podcast Recommendations playlist, which will have any of the ones we mentioned and even some of the ones that we didn't that I listened to, like Believe You Me or Care Don't Care, Vivisection, any of that. So if you're looking for specifically the YouTube version of stuff, recommend checking that out. And if you give us a like and or subscribe over there, it does help. So check all that out. And I guess other than that, man, I hope everybody has a good weekend. We finally have another Thursday recording session in the books, which is weird.
Yep.
It's weird not doing Fridays, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I probably won't be able to... Actually, wait. Today is what, the 1st, right?
Today is the 1st?
Actually, coincidentally, my class is canceled next week, so we will be recording again on Thursday.
Good to
So
know.
this is a rare oddity.
Good to know.
Just remember that. My professor will not be in class next week because my professor is actually an executive producer for CBS News in San Diego. So,
good to know.
that's why. So, yeah, we will be back here Thursday again, which will probably be the final time. Unfortunately, we'll be back here on the Thursday.
Actually, we may not even be back Thursday because that'll be our commentary or our commentary.
Oh,
week,
what am I talking about?
maybe
Then
it'll
we'll be
Saturday.
back here Saturday. Excuse me. So
we'll figure that out.
disregard that.
But anyway, if you check out our Twitter, TSOV Pod, you'll be able to see all that, and we'll keep you updated. But anyway, hit us up. Let us know what we're missing out on. And until next time, everybody. Oh, check out MMAPodcast.com. They're fucking great. I've recently talked to the dude. They were having some trouble where some of the podcasts weren't posting correctly on the main page, but they were still coming out. And I talked to him, and he was able to get that fixed. So, because I use that, that's literally one of our go-to resources for the show for both of us, I think, right?
Yep. I use it all the time.
Yeah, that's my go-to during work and shit. So, yeah. I guess check that out, MMAPodcast.com. And until next time, everybody, go do something decadent. We out. Bye.